Excuse me. The time is now 5:39, and we will be starting our meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Perth Amboy Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the bulletin board in the administrative headquarters building, mailing notices to the Home News Tribune, El Diario La Prensa, and our city clerk, as well as all other persons requiring notification pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law. Roll call, Mr. LeBrace, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Present.
Ms. Crawford.
Here.
Mr. George. Here. Mr. Marte.
Present.
Ms. Melendez.
Present.
Ms. Oduyella. Mr. Keelis.
Present.
Vice President Gonzalez.
Present.
President Peralta.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Good evening and welcome to this majestic auditorium. Tonight we are going to celebrate this auditorium by inviting our board members to come up front for a summer theater program presentation. Dr. Courtney Pepper, Director of Instructional Technology, and Mr. Brian Wilson, Supervisor of Fine Visual Performing Arts, our students and staff that have put this together. And then following that, there'll be two presentations on NJGPA and assets. So if you can join me in the front, board, reserved in the front row for you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to take a moment and thank everyone in this room for their unwavering support of the arts in this community. So the wonderful thing about this building is there's so many magical first moments. And I had the good fortune today to be here when our students from the various schools saw this space for the first time. We actually had all of the building principals join us in each principal, walk their thespians in through this door, and you should have seen the smiles and the wide eyes as they saw this majestic space for the first time. No one should ever think that arts education is a luxury. For many of our kids, it is the driving reason why they show up to school every single day. I'd like to thank my Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Damian Medina, for his support of our pipeline in the arts. Some of the new courses you will be approving tonight include a pre-AP theater and a technical theater, and this space just lends itself to that type of coursework, so thank you. Additionally, on the agenda tonight, we are approving our musical program. That's a wonderful initiative that we're now in our third year of doing a musical in our elementary schools as well as the middle school and the high school. So for many of you, the last time we were together was in late July at the culminating performance of Frozen. And if I think back on it, I think maybe I talked about or hinted that the next time we might meet up, we would be here.
One of the things that I love about the theater is it's just such a wonderful way to bring the community together. You know, maybe the next time I'll see many of you is for one of our shows at the Black Box Theater, or in our new state-of-the-art auditorium that is like Broadway caliber.
And here we are. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Wilson. I'm the supervisor of Fine, Visual, and Performing Arts, and it is our pleasure and distinct honor to share with you a glimpse into our district's summer theater program. Over the years, summer theater has become an exceptional platform for student creativity and growth. This year, our talented students have worked diligently in July to present their production of Frozen Junior in front of approximately 400 audience members on July 31st and August 1st. This program emphasizes creativity, collaboration, and the development of artistic literacy, which are elements that are the core values in our state standards. Parents of students in the program in past years that I've had the pleasure to speak with have said that their children have developed self-confidence, self-awareness, improved on their communication skills, and simply could not stop singing the songs over and over and over again at home. And I guess we'll be doing that again this evening. So there's the performers on stage, but as you just saw, the set pieces coming onto the stage and our students in the control room, there's also the behind-the-scenes aspect of theater. Many students who are performers on stage for our high school productions have joined us in the summer to take on various leadership roles. So first, I'd like to recognize our first student, Dr. Pepe.
Arlene Valdez. In 2019, we did our first summer musical, Annie. She was Annie. And the choreography that you are seeing tonight, she was our choreographer for this.
I'd also like to recognize Anamika Bachu, who is not here this evening. She was our assistant choreographer. She is actually at JFK High School with our Marching Panthers performing the field show and the pep band for the first away football game. Also with us is Leah Rosario. She is our stage manager for our summer production. Both Leah and Anamika participated in the second year of our program behind the scenes, taking on various leadership roles. Okay, we could now dismiss you back to your behind the scenes tasks. You do have a show to do. This summer we had the most high school helpers in leadership roles for our summer production. It was truly amazing, their talents, their hard work, their dedication as only high school students. So which is why Dr. Pepe and I, words cannot express how proud we are of our students, our staff, to have this opportunity to take the stage for our first musical performance at the new Perth Amboy High School. I'd like to recognize our staff members. First, Director Allison Graham. Our vocal director, who could not be here with us this evening, Miss Jessica Pierce. Our set designer, Miss Jamie Vaca. Our technical director, Mr. Frank Yee. Our production manager, who couldn't be here with us this evening, Mr. Michael Hansen. And our coordinator, Miss Kimberly Massimino. Miss Massimino? So all of this is tied to our pipeline in K-8 and into our high school curriculum courses in visual art and performing arts. I always say that musicals bring together all of the arts content areas into one production. So tonight, you'll see a 10-minute medley that highlights our students' hard work, determination, and the educational impact of this vibrant summer experience. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the medley of Frozen Junior.
Build a snowman. Come on, let's go and play. I can cover this whole place in snow. I'm not supposed to though. Yeah, just do it anyway. Do it for your sister. Also please, oh please, I can't do the things you do. You really want to build a snowman? You know I do. We'll stable and build that snowman. Yes! Me and you.
As the Bishop of Arundel, I proclaim we shall honor their ways until our young queen, Elsa, becomes of age.
Just you and me.
strange. But wow, am I so ready for this change? For the first time in forever, there'll be music, there'll be light. For the first time in forever, I'll be dancing through the night. Don't know if I'm elated or gassy, but I'm somewhere in that zone. 'Cause for the first time in forever, I won't be alone. I can't wait to meet everyone. What if I meet the one? Tonight, imagine the gown and all, fetchingly draped against the wall, the picture of sophisticated grace. I suddenly see him standing there, a beautiful stranger, tall and rare. I want to stuff some chocolate in my face, but then we laugh and talk all evening, we're just totally bizarre, and nothing like the life I've led so far. For the first time in forever, there'll be magic, there'll be fun. For the first time in forever, I could be noticed by someone. And I know it all ends tomorrow, so it has to be today. 'Cause for the first time in forever, for the first time in forever, nothing's in my way. The snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like this whirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. It's funny how some distance makes everything seem small.
Test, test? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. They were just phenomenal. They went through a rehearsal today. They were at Richardson last week through rehearsal, and it was just phenomenal to see this on our beautiful new high school stage. Parents, your children are now getting out of their costume in our beautiful dressing room behind us and in our music room. So you could head out these doors and into the Black Box Theater, and that's where we'll be dismissing the students to you. So thank you very much once again.
And thank you, parents, for having the students come back. We very much appreciate them in this program. Thank you, Dr. Oman, the board, and to Dr. Pepe, as well as Mr. Wilson. We absolutely love doing this program, and it wouldn't be possible without all of your support, so we do appreciate you. Thank you.
So we've been given the impossible task of following what you just saw. So we thought, what would be one thing that you would want to hear more than anything about data? And so we're going to take some time to talk to you about this. But actually, it's good news, and I want to start off with this, first of all. I look around this room, and I just think, La Promesa, the promise of a dream that this community had maybe 20 years ago that's now been fulfilled by everyone that's sitting in a seat. I keep saying this, if you find yourself sitting in a seat, then dreams must be true. If we take a look at the next slide, and my colleague, Ms. Richardson, will be helping here, the Director of Curriculum and Instruction. At the last July 2024 board meeting, statements were made about individual schools' academic achievement for the 2022-23 school year. We cannot just look at data that's surrounding academic achievement, as there are many other factors that contribute to a school's performance. Student growth is one of those. It's also a major component of what's reported for state assessment. It paints a fuller picture of the district's progress. And in addition, so you don't just believe me, the data of NJDOE, New Jersey Department of Education, from them indicates the following. The 2022-23 school performance reports include all data that was previously reported prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, which includes all assessments, student growth, accountability. Right there in yellow, data throughout the reports has been impacted by the pandemic in various ways. So the NJDOE recommends caution in comparing data from year to year. In addition, some of the data that was reported was not accurate, does not reflect accuracy in any single way. And tonight we're going to discuss some of those aspects of what that data means. Next slide.
So the NJ School Performance Report actually has 11 sections. They're listed in front of you. Today we're going to focus on the things that Dr. Roman just spoke about, so student growth and student achievement. But there is other sections such as demographics, college and career readiness for the high school, graduation and post-secondary for the high school. All schools have climate and environment, staff data, per pupil expenditures, accountability, and a narrative. But today we'll just focus on student growth and student achievement. Just note also that there has been a change to some of our assessments throughout the years. So those are listed here for you. In 2014 to 2015, the PARC assessment was used to replace the NJ Ask. That was a pretty big change because it included the Common Core Standard change. Then in 2018-19, the NJSLA assessment was used to replace PARC. They're very similar, but still a different assessment. And then in 2019-20 and 2021, the NJSLA assessment was canceled, as you guys know, because of COVID-19. And then we returned to testing after that year. So it's the data I'm using is from 2014 on in some cases. District-wide data was available in 2016 on in some cases. But prior to 2014, we were using different standards in NJ Ask, which is why that's not included in this presentation.
And also the data that's being provided tonight is provided in its fidelity with accuracy, so that's comparable and proven and can be looked at, as opposed to, at times, statements that are made with data that's derivative of ether that cannot be checked. This is verifiable.
So our ELA proficiency rates are shown here for the district and for the state. The district is in blue and the state is in green. And you'll also see I have the bars here so that you can see where the COVID-19 affected us having assessments. So for the 2016-17 school year all the way until 2018-19, the district's ELA proficiency increased by 7.4%. And like the state of New Jersey, the ELA proficiency rates dropped after COVID-19. But despite this drop, we still had an increase from 30.6% to 32.2% between the 2 years after COVID that we were tested.
In simplicity, that means student achievement has increased. Accurate or inaccurate?
Accurate.
I would just...
I didn't know where you went, sorry.
I'm hiding. I'm tired. It's been a long week. I'll try and stand up again. So, student achievement in Perth Amboy Public School District has increased as defined by the data of NJDOE, not us. Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
So in addition, our math proficiency rates are above, written in the same fashion. You can see the state in green and the district in blue. So from 2016-17 to 2018-19, the district's math proficiency increased by 5.6%. We did have a drop like the state did after the pandemic. But we did increase from 21-22 to 22-23, 13.9% to 14.1%. I do want to point out that these do look like small percents, but this is just a portion of the picture, and we're going to talk about growth in a little bit.
Thank you.
In addition, prior to COVID-19, these are the trend lines for every single school in the district, and the black line that you see in the middle is the trend line for the state. So a trend line makes a linear line through all of the data points following the trend of those points. You can also see the numbers next to the X going down that show that we were trending actually higher than the state for all of our schools in ELA. So you see the black line is kind of like this, and our other lines are like this. So we were actually growing a little bit faster than the state through these years.
What does trending and faster and higher mean?
It just means that we were growing faster in comparison to the average peer in New Jersey.
With the understanding that the complications has to be prevalent in this conversation about apples to apples, not apples to oranges, communities to communities, would that not be correct? Because we're trending upward towards many different affluent communities in the trend.
And I just want to point out too that you can see the gap closing between the majority of the schools. You have the state line, and we're moving a little bit closer. In addition, the blue line says DLS/Lopez because if you remember, our dual language program started with one school. So as you move into the years that Lopez existed, then you would have two different lines. So here we just had a dual language program. That's why those are placed together. So these are our math proficiency trends for the same year. So you'll see the trend lines, the state is in black, and all of the other schools are below that, but trending up towards the state, growing at a faster rate. I'll keep going. And then student growth is a little bit different. So this chart is going to look different than what you saw before because instead of student growth, you would think you would see it going up. But student growth is actually measuring how our students are growing. So we actually, if we have a good student growth rate, we kind of want that to remain constant. It's not necessarily going to go up, but we want to stay in a certain range. So the state defines a median student growth percentile. Typical growth is between 35 and 65. So if we're falling between 35 and 65, we have typical growth. If we were below 34, that's something that we want to look at, that we do look at. We look at our data each year. And if we were above 65, even better, but that's not typical. We want to make sure we're at least growing at a typical rate. So you can see the districts prior to COVID-19 was within the typical range, and after COVID-19, we are still growing at the typical rate. So we had a drop, just like the state did, but we're still growing at a typical rate. It's just going to take us and the state some time to get back to where we were, and then keep increasing from there.
I appreciate that. It was very clear.
Just one other thing to note about the school performance report. The state has done some reflecting on the way that scores are calculated, and there are revisions out for the public to read for the 2024 plan that will change the way that everything we spoke about tonight is going to be calculated. because they feel that it's unfair, specifically for districts like ours. So one thing that's changing is the way that proficiency is measured. So those first few charts that we looked at, they're going to use multiple data points to calculate the proficiency that will be a little bit more fair to districts. They're also changing the end goal from 12 years to 6 years. So previously, we were looking at a goal all the way for 2030 to be at 80% proficiency. They did make that to 2032 after COVID to make up for the 2 years, but they found that your goals change as your students change. So they're gonna keep reflecting each year and make 6-year increment goals, as well as they say target not met or target met. There's now going to be a progress target not met to highlight the districts that are still making progress towards the target, even if they're not at their target yet, because the goal is to be at the target at the end of those, okay? And we just have a few other things that the school performance report doesn't include, but we do like to highlight in the district because we measure ourselves based on what the state measures us on, but we also have our own internal ways of measuring our progress. And we have a lot of ways that we've continued to grow despite the pandemic.
I've seen this many different times, but I think that it needs to be expressed a little bit more clearly. Student growth is alive and well. Student achievement is progressively moving forward. That is undeniable, as by the NJDOE. Any other myth is just that. Are there areas of growth that we need to have? Of course. But when you look at this, it's important to take a look at what has transpired within this district. And I say this often. A number of years ago, if you looked at this room, you graduated, you didn't. Now, at Perth Amboy Public School District, we graduate all the way over to here. We're reaching 90 almost, as you can see. This is a valuable piece. It's not about only numbers. It's also about the fact that your children who arrive to the school will reach the promesa at the front and arrive to graduation so they can continue on with their career in many different ways. That is unbelievable. Think about this again and tell everybody. 10 years ago, only you graduated, and now, and if this room was filled, think about that. We graduated. Are we done? No. Student achievement is progressing. So the myths of others that do not speak about the quality of that is a misnomer and must be respectfully challenged with accurate data right in front of you. What would you say about this? Because it's tremendous. What would you say about this growth?
I would say that it just shows the progress that we're making as a district, and to graduate in any high school in New Jersey, there are some things from the state that need to happen, but we also have our own things that need to happen, and we have different pathways for our students. So you're going to see a little bit later our NJ GPA scores. That's one way that the state is calculating that our students are ready to graduate, but we have other ways of doing that, and we have courses that we build in and programs that we build in to support our students to that finish line.
In full transparency, he says 2024, says anticipated results. But we're pretty close to knowing that's going to be real because we've gotten the information from the state. It's just a matter of saying we haven't put that out there yet, but they have put that out there to us already. So this is a very important piece of information to use about what's happening in this district as it relates to student achievement and student growth. The next slide, please. Please look at 2015. This is an important award that our students receive, the Seal of Biliteracy. We are leading, close to, if not leading, the state in this area. What this is saying is that our students, your children, arrive to this district with the ability to think with two different brains and communicate with two different aspects of thinking in one ideology of thought. So they may speak with an accent, but they do not think with one. And on top of that, we've been able to demonstrate that and have students graduate with this. They can speak and think in two different languages. And the state has said, right there, look at that growth. Student growth, 2015 to 2015 to 2024, from 37 to 315 students. That's the graduation rate of the students in a room exactly. You should give that one a round of applause. They're leaving here with this certification. What would you say about this?
I mean, on a personal level, I have a 3-year-old, and I was given the opportunity in my district to enroll him in dual language program, and being in this district is the reason why I'm doing that. These results are the reason why I'm choosing to do that with my child. So I think that kind of speaks for it.
Dr. Medina, I know that you're very proud of this. Is there anything that you'd like to say, or did I capture it? Okay. So congratulations to our students, to our staff, and to this community, because this is the voices of the students that will go into our nation and speak in 2 languages. Next. I'll let you take this. And this is I love this one. You can take it, and then I'm going to say something.
So our director, Marcia Stillo, just shared this data with us, I think, last week, so it's hot off the presses. But our inclusion rate has grown. Prior to 2020, 2021, the inclusion rate was below 50%. And in the last 5 years, it's increased 29.73%. So for 22-23, we're at 63.63% inclusion rate.
Before I say this, I want to check something. So I wanted to just verify something. The importance of this slide is connected to inclusivity, that all children have opportunity to arrive to our district to have an equal opportunity at the challenge. Next slide. Now take a look at this. I'll share this with you. When I arrived here about 10 years ago, I was a little upset that we were below the ranking of U.S. News World Report. So we've been watching this and chasing this and chasing this. Many of our, and this is a fact, look it up, many of our neighboring schools surpassed us in their ranking, meaning that their district was ranked better. Neighboring districts of this Middlesex community surpassed us. We now surpass them. We ranked higher than some neighboring high schools in Middlesex, and we're not done. That's a significant growth for our students. This also says something else, by the way. You saw the students that were up here before. Every time we don't speak about these positive attributes of what's happening here, what we're doing is a disservice to the students and children of this community. They have the ability, they have the vision, they have the courage, and they have the talent.
And I just want to note that a lot of the ways that they calculate this specific ranking is from the school performance report. So a lot of the data that we spoke about today goes into how they choose these rankings.
So end with this point from your perspective, using the beautiful language that you can empirically about what this means at a national state level.
This means that although our scores might be lower than the state, we did start lower than the state for a long time, so we're growing towards being close to the state, above the state, and things like this and the other data that we showed today are showing that we're trending up. Do we have times where we go down? Do we have things that happen? Yes, but we need a full picture of the data to really understand what's happening in the district. And in C&I specifically, curriculum and instruction, we try to look at all different data points because one data point doesn't tell you the whole picture. We teach our students that as well. You have to look at the full picture to really understand the story of the district.
And the rank of this, again, and we have fine schools around us, right? Fine schools around us. We just surpassed them, that's all.
That's it.
Done?
NJGPA.
Have fun, this one's on you.
So up next, the slideshow is going to change in just a second, but we do have to share our NJGPA scores with you as well as our access scores. So I'll be joined by our Director of Bilingual, ESL, and World Languages. But I will start with the NJGPA scores for you. So districts must report statewide assessment results to local school boards. This report includes the results of the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment. We are required to share this within 60 days of receipt. This is the NJGPA scores for English Language Arts and Mathematics. The New Jersey Department of Education stated in the January 18, 2023 broadcast memo that all students in grade 11, including students with disabilities whose IEP states that they are not eligible for the alternative assessment, the DLM, must take the ELA and mathematics component of the NJGPA to meet the high school graduation requirement. On May 3rd, 2023, the cut scores were released, which is 725. So you can see here this table is provided by the state. The first pathway for students to meet their testing requirement for graduation is the NJGPA with the cutoff score of 725. But as I mentioned previously, there are other pathways for students if they do not pass this way that they can graduate. That includes all of the things you see in the table below, ACT, SAT. We also have a portfolio that we assist students with as well that they can use to fulfill that requirement for graduation. There's only two different types of scores for this assessment. It's either level 1, not graduation ready, or level 2, graduation ready. So these are the historical scores from 21-22 all the way to 24. That's incorrect. That should say 23-24 at the end. I apologize. So it's 21-22, 22-23, and that should be 23-24. The legislation signed by Governor Murphy on July 5th, 2022, designated the spring 2022 as a field test. So although we're showing the 21-22 scores, those did not count for students as a graduation requirement. In the red, you will see the colored row is the Perth Amboy district, and then those white rows underneath are the New Jersey scores to compare to the state. The next slide has our data for this year, 23-24, disaggregated by subgroups. Anytime you see an asterisk in the data, it just means that the student population for that group is very small. So to protect student privacy, they do not release those scores publicly. Some interventions and programs that we do to work towards higher proficiency rates on this specific assessment for ELA is Countdown to Success. So in the spring, we do work with students on specific problems that are like the problems that they will see on the NJGPA assessment. In addition, we have professional development by a company called Compass. We've been working with them for a few years now. They do provide professional development to our ELA, ESL, and social studies teachers on effective instruction techniques. We also have a program named Albert.io that provides practice for reading passages and questions aligned to the assessment. For math, we are going into year 3 of our math initiative. So we continue to have coaching for our teachers on effective math instruction through Carnegie Learning. We also have Countdown to Success, but for math, we do it a little bit more cyclically. They have checkpoints throughout the year where they get to do problems based on the content they're learning at that time that help them practice for the assessment, as well as a targeted instruction time during instruction to meet the needs of students that may be a little bit behind. We can target them individually during that time, specifically using a program called Mathia. And as I said, our professional development will continue with the math initiative for teachers on the targeted intervention time as well as the regular instruction time. We also have professional development for special education. Unique Learning Systems is coaching for teachers for self-contained classrooms, as well as a focus on the universal design for learning principles for staff professional development. This involves really removing barriers for students so that they can meet the grade level standards in the classroom. And I will pass it over to, where's she? Where'd she go? Oh. I can keep going. Yeah.
Dr. Medina, sir.
Thank you. So, access for English language learners. That's also another standardized assessment statewide, and we are also required by the state and the NJDOE to report the assessment. So Access stands for Assessing Comprehension and Communication in English State to State, and measures the English in all language domains: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. All right? So 3,245 students district-wide in Perth Amboy were administered the Access for ELA exam during the 23-24 school year. Okay? The alternate Access for ELL is also is for especially for special education students, and also addresses the 4 language domains, provides a paper-based test individually administered to students in grades 1 through 12 who have significant cognitive disabilities, and is intended for multilingual learners who participate or who would be likely to participate in the dynamic learning map assessment in lieu of the NJSLA. So that's the DLM. 17 students district-wide were administered the alternate Access for ELL exam during the 23-24 school year. All right, so when the district gets the report back, the scores are based on levels of language proficiency, and they range from 1 through 6, being 1 an entering level, through a 6 being reaching native-like proficiency in English. So the numbers of students at each language proficiency level by grade level, right? So these proficiency levels from 1 through 6 are listed here, showing how many of our students fall, right? So just to give an example, we can say that first grade, there's currently 301 students entering level, which means they are port of entry. They still have not mastered the language, English language, and they're developing and working from a lot of instruction is taking place in Spanish to help them develop English skills. So as part of the bilingual office with Mrs. Cruz Archamil, the whole district has put some systems in place to enhance bilingual education. So first of all, we are required to share the scores with the teachers, and we do see a lot of value in sharing the scores with the teachers, because that gives them personalized information about where the students are in terms of the language proficiency, what they're able to produce in terms of reading, writing, speaking, and listening in English. We also have shared English instruction, training, right? A lot of our students exit the program, and then they go to most likely to a monolingual gen ed classroom. So it is important that that teacher gets tools to support the students while they are in that now monolingual setting. We also continue to provide professional development for bilingual and ESL staff on effective teaching strategies for MLs, ESL curriculum, and data analysis will also be provided throughout the school year. Achieve 3000 is an online resource that we supplement the curriculum for multilingual learners. The great news, the resource is in English and Spanish, and it's adaptable to the language proficiency and the reading levels of the students. So it's very individualized and a great resource for them. And also, we have just updated the ESL curriculum for grades K-12 over the summer, and the new ESL curriculum is aligned, of course, to the New Jersey English language standards and English language development standards. Very critical that we're just not teaching ESL out of context, but the way we teach ESL must be aligned to the standards at the state level and the language proficiency standards. All right, so just to finish up both presentations, we want to say that behind a student or every score, there is a story, and within it lies the potential of a child, right? So
I'd like to thank my colleagues for the presentation, and I'd like to conclude with actually this, which is the story of every single potential child. What's also important about this statement is the following. When we allow anyone to speak ill of the community, the district, and the gains, it's a disservice not only to students and what they've done, but also to staff who we are celebrating, who have helped to get this to this point, because they've done the heavy lifting for this work. And they should be celebrated along with the students and not mitigated it by not speaking about the student achievement and growth that's taking place here. So it's our job to express this to you. Of course, we have lots of things that we need to do to improve, but we're getting there. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask the board to please move to the front, take a few minutes before we do that. Thank you.
Dr. Pepe, sorry, we can bring it back down for the timer if need be. Sorry.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. The performance was amazing. And thank you for your patience with our growing pains. This is our new home and we're trying to figure out all the switches and everything else as we go. So thank you for your patience. So the reason why we asked for it to come back out is so that the clock can show when you are at the podium. Meeting open to the public for discussion of agenda items and non-agenda items. There will be only one public participation session at this meeting. At this meeting, comments are invited on any matter. Public participation shall be governed by policy number 0167. Anyone wishing to address the board, please state your name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No member of the public may address or question board members individually. Although the board encourages public participation, it reserves the right, through its presiding officer, to terminate remarks to and/or by any individual not keeping with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. The board discourages the public from speaking negatively about any employee, administrator, or student. Individuals can be held personally liable for defamatory or libelous statements made at public meetings. The board bears no responsibility for comments made by members of the public. Comments regarding employees, administrators, or students cannot be legally responded to by any member of the board or administration.
Good evening.
Wait, I'm so sorry.
Okay, you're not finished.
Since we have a lot of parents here today, I'm not sure if that message was understood. Delvis, can you quickly translate? Just a quick overview, please.
Para los padres que quieren hablar hoy día sobre algo que necesitan hablar, cuando hay la oportunidad, ustedes pueden venir al micrófono y hablar y tienen 3 minutos a decir lo que tienen que decir. Solamente que pedimos que lo haga con respeto. Gracias.
Good evening, Pat Paradiso, President of the Perth Amboy Federation. It's a wonderful thing that our high school students get to attend this beautiful new building, but it's a completely different story for students who attend some of our other schools. While custodial staff were hard at work getting this new school ready, other buildings were seriously neglected. This is not the fault of our dedicated custodial staff. It was a decision made by central administration. Willents and Patton schools are not ready to welcome back students, and Flynn School has a mold problem that the district is having difficulty mitigating. We believe that part of the problem stems from the fact that the air conditioning is shut off in the late afternoon, creating condensation within the system. But we would like to see a professional company come in and help solve the problem, like they do in other school districts. We are very concerned about the lack of busing. Not all our parents have cars, and not all our schools are easy to walk to. Cutting buses discriminates against the students who come from low-income families and students with undocumented parents. These are the students who need school services the most, and they will most likely not be able to access them. We are also concerned about the lack of resources available for students in our other schools. It just seems unjust. Thank you.
Josiah Santa Maria, District Representative for the Perth Amboy Federation. There's 2 things I'd briefly like to talk about. The first is I would like to thank the board for allowing the cast and crew of Frozen Junior to be the first group to perform on the stage. It's a very big honor, and this program is near and dear to my heart. I was one of the co-directors in 2019 for Annie Jr., and Annie then was the choreographer tonight. I worked on the Once on This Island Junior in 2021. I believe, no, 2022. Matilda last summer, and this is the first summer I haven't been able to work the program, and it was a little sad. But I was very happy to see the performance at Richardson, and I was very happy to see them here tonight, and it was just, they're fantastic. And as someone who was painfully shy in high school 25 plus years ago, I know that the theater program is a bridge to get over that, and that was that for me. The second thing, I would like to take note, when I took the tour here yesterday, I noticed that there was a lot of artifacts from the past schools that Perth Amboy has had, McGinnis and Peterson and all those schools, and it was great to see the history of Perth Amboy schools displayed. One thing in particular was a vinyl record that I found about 5-6 years ago when they were redoing the media center at Perth Amboy High School. They were about to throw it out. I grabbed it because it was the choir from Perth Amboy High School, which is now McGinnis, in 1964. I brought it to Mr. Delvis Rodriguez a couple of months ago at a meeting, and I gave it to him in hopes that it could somehow be preserved. So I would like to thank Mr. Rodriguez for making sure that found a proper home and it didn't just get lost. I transported that thing from main campus to East Campus to South Campus and finally back to barracks, and I'm glad that it found a home here. Thank you.
Hello guys, I hope you're all having a great summer. Right? Idalia, City of Perth Amboy here all my life, 47 years, and I say my age proudly. I know a lot of women don't like to say that, but I don't have a problem to say that. I came to speak on 2 other different topics, and I'll go 3 minutes for each topic, but the first one that I want to address is when I came into this place, everybody's speaking in English. And according to the newspaper articles and everything that went out talking about the new high school, they talked about how our community and our culture is 90% Hispanic and Spanish speaking. And nothing that what we spoke about from the start when the superintendent was speaking, nothing was translated in Spanish. Therefore, I think a lot of words were used as it's a dishonest or it's not good for the community, it's not good for the children if we're talking bad of our schools and our teachers, and I agree 100% to that, but I think it's a dishonest, if that was the correct word. I think I'm saying the wrong word, but disadvantage if the parents that are here cannot even understand the numbers or the averages or anything that you're speaking about. Some of them come with a personal need and a personal topic that they want to talk about, but that information is of course an advantage if the parents truly can understand where we are getting better and where we're not getting better, right? So it's a disadvantage that they were unable to understand probably 90% of what was spoken in the beginning of this meeting. We have to be more prepared. I know you guys have the earphones and all of that, but we should have been ready with that, right? You guys know that you're making a lot of changes with the buses and was probably expecting a large crowd to come and speak their minds. But a lot of times parents don't come to these meetings, so they don't even know how they run it. So they don't even know they have to come here and speak for 3 minutes. Thankfully that the gentleman, translated that in Spanish. But half of that group was ready to leave because they said you had to go to the back. And that was because I came up here to ask for a translator, and they didn't want to feel like they had to go to the back to translate to that small group. We should have been ready with earphones. We should have been ready with somebody speaking here on the podium to be like, let's address them, right? Give them the respect that they need as parents to be like, I want you to get the full attention so that they could be part of the education. They could be part of the Board of Education. They could be part of the team that we all talk about that we want our parents to be a part of. So I didn't come for that. But that, as soon as I walked in the door, touches my heart, and I feel an importance to advocate for my people. That's one. So I don't know if the other 3 minutes starts with my other topic.
Yo le voy a hablar en español. Hola. Más que preguntas, queremos respuesta. Todo lo que estamos aquí hemos venido. Mi nombre es Berenice Ortiz. Soy residente aquí en Perth Amboy y estoy aquí peleando o quiero respuesta igual que todas las personas que están sentadas ahí en ese lugar. Hemos venido aquí tal vez con una información confusa porque todo el que está sentado aquí está esperando una respuesta de una decisión que se tomó sobre quitar los bus a los niños. Queremos saber cuál es el beneficio, porque cuando en una comunidad se toma una decisión es para beneficio de la comunidad y no hemos sido beneficiados con esa decisión. No sé cuál ha sido el objetivo, ya que la información nos la dieron una semana antes de empezar la escuela, donde no nos están dando ninguna opción ni ninguna estrategia para nosotros seguir adelante con nuestros niños. Aquí hay madres que trabajan, que ahora mismo no saben cómo van a regresar a su trabajo porque no tienen el transporte para sus niños. Aquí hay personas que no manejan, que no conducen, no tienen carro, tienen otros niños, otras responsabilidades y estamos aquí con los pies y las manos atadas que no sabemos qué hacer y no nos vamos a mover hasta escuchar una respuesta concreta y una respuesta que nos dé un beneficio a nosotros los ciudadanos que hemos votado por cada uno de ustedes que están sentados en esa silla, que son los que nos representan y salimos de nuestra casa a votar por ustedes para que ustedes alcen nuestra voz. Y hoy estamos aquí tratando de pelear un derecho que nos corresponde, que no debemos estar ninguno de nosotros peleando un derecho que le corresponde a cada uno de nuestros niños, que pagamos impuestos en este pueblo, que somos ciudadanos de honra y que le damos valor a Perth Amboy. Y necesitamos una respuesta concreta de aún los niños con IP que dicen que le van a dar transporte solamente a los niños especiales, de educación especial. Yo principalmente tengo un niño con un IP y me han negado la transportación simplemente porque mi hijo no está dentro de un aula especial. Tiene un IP por alguna razón. Tiene un IP por alguna razón, sea de speech, sea de aprendizaje, tiene un IP y merece su transportación, igual que todos los niños que están aquí sentados y los papás que necesitan una respuesta. No nos vamos a mover de aquí, vamos a ir a los medios que tengamos que ir, canales de televisiones, influencias que tengamos que mover, pero nosotros queremos una respuesta concreta de por qué se tomó esa decisión en contra de nuestros niños y la queremos hoy.
So mom is here with a group of parents. They were under the impression that this meeting tonight would be a meeting to solely discuss transportation. They have questions as to why and how that decision came to be. We have parents in the audience that are working parents, single parents. They don't have the means to bring their child or children without the transportation to school. They would like to leave tonight with some kind of response and answer that they can take home with them. Mom would like to know also, and she's here with parents, that as she communicated, is their right to advocate for their children and the right for them to have this transportation to arrive safely to school. There are parents that have classified students that qualify for transportation. Mom spoke of her own, who, although has an IEP, does not qualify for transportation, and that isn't just. She would like, again, a response for tonight, and as she spoke, she will continue. She says that she will not be leaving until she receives a response from the board. As she mentioned, you are all elected officials representing them and their needs. And that's pretty much in a nutshell.
Buenas noches. Como leí anterior, no podemos dar una respuesta en este mismo momento porque estamos entre medio de esta sesión. Si espera hasta después de executive session, de la sesión ejecutiva, le podemos dar una respuesta, pero en este mismo momento no podamos. Sí, pero sí le vamos a dar una respuesta.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. I am very happy to be here. My name is Iris Rodriguez. I'm a longtime resident of Perth Amboy school system. And don't you have an official interpreter? And if you do, I would appreciate if they interpret as the person speaks. Miss Cruz did do a good job, but not exactly what the parents said. So I think that you should have an interpreter to interpret correctly, and as the way you do it any other place when you're paying for a professional interpreter. Thank you.
My apologies, I did forget one more thing. Mom did say as she and other parents are tax-paying citizens, and as tax-paying citizens, it is, in their opinion, their right to have the transportation services. Also, as she did mention as well, that if she will continue to advocate for her child along with parents here, seeking social media or other media outlets to hear her plead. I don't know if I could, do I?
Is there anybody else that wants to speak on the same topic? I think the lady in the back. ¿Hay otra persona que quiere venir a hablar de la misma tema? Okay.
Muy buenas tardes.
Permiso, hay reglas aquí y tienen que venir al podio para poder hablar. No podemos hacer esto. All right, but that's what I'm here for. Thank you. Ms. Gomez, if there's anything that you need to explain to them how it works, thank you.
Ok, muchas gracias. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Joana Figueroa y estoy aquí con la misma inquietud de todos los padres. Vinimos acá porque necesitamos que nuestros representantes, que son ustedes, ¿verdad? Por la cual, como dijo nuestra compañera, salimos a dar el voto y son los que nos representan como comunidad. Nosotros como ciudadanos necesitamos personas que nos den respuestas a lo que no ha venido con lo que nos está aconteciendo, que es la transportación. Ahora mismo nosotros estamos en una encrucijada porque no sabemos cómo va a funcionar o cómo nosotros tenemos que manejarnos porque no tenemos los medios.
As Mom mentioned, she is here asking for our elected officials in a response to the transportation matter at hand. She feels that they're in an indecisive moment where she is uncertain as to how she's going to be able to take her child to school. And again, not the only ones, they're looking for an answer. They would like for you to please not only hear them out, but also again, as elected officials representing their needs, again, keeping in mind the transportation request.
Tengo dos niños que están en la escuela Rose M. López. Necesito llevarlos a la escuela, pero al igual que yo, hay otros padres que están agotando un horario de trabajo a la cual ellos merecen ese respeto, porque tienen que ir a cumplirlo. Independiendo de eso, está el sustento de su casa. Entonces, simplemente llamamos a la escuela, no tenemos una respuesta concreta que nos dicen qué vamos a hacer. Simplemente nos dan la información de que ya no tenemos el transporte a último momento. Entonces, nosotros como padres necesitamos saber qué debemos hacer, cómo nosotros nos vamos a manejar de aquí en adelante. Si cada uno de ustedes como padre alzan la voz para que ustedes como representantes la lleven al destino adecuado donde deben llevarla, nosotros necesitamos esa respuesta y nos quedamos tranquilos al saber que la educación de nuestros hijos no va a peligrar, porque muchos ahora mismo están diciendo, no voy a mandar a mis hijos a la escuela porque tengo que trabajar, no puedo mandar al niño a la escuela porque tengo que llevarlo temprano. Entonces, es un caos que se nos ha armado.
Again, mom is stating that, as mentioned also by the other mom, it's what am I going to do? I have 2 children that go to the Rosem Lopez. I need the transportation. We all have work schedules that do not permit us to be available to take these children to school at the entry time. So what am I to do? I call the school. Unfortunately, the school lets us know the same response that unfortunately there is no transportation. And mom is saying, what I'm here asking all of you, my elected officials, representatives of not just myself, but the parents that sit here, what can we do? What solution do we have? How are we going to help our students? We have parents in the audience stating that, well, then I'm just not taking them to school then, because again, they don't have the transportation that it is needed.
Por favor, como madre y como padre y como cada uno de los representantes de esta comunidad, necesitamos que nos escuchen y que ustedes respondan todo lo que nosotros estamos diciendo acá, porque necesitamos respuesta. Por favor, respóndanos. No nos dejen en ascuas, no nos dejen en el aire con las informaciones que necesitamos recibir de ustedes. En ustedes nos apoyamos y en ustedes confiamos. Muchas gracias.
Mom states, as a mom, please hear me out. As a mom, as dads in the audience, how can help us please to get to a solution? Don't leave us in the air. We need a solution as to how we're going to get our children to school. As mom stated, it is in you that she has faith. It is in you that she is looking towards to be able to resolve this matter at hand. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Lynn Buckley. I have 2 questions for the board. One, I was contacted by several parents about when this notice was given and there were some inconsistencies, so I just would like some clarification of when each school sent out the official notice that transportation would be discontinued, and also if the board could clarify a little bit about what the decision was behind to discontinue bus service and was it budget related. I am from a member of the media. We are covering this story. We were contacted by several parents, so we would just like to give the board an opportunity to explain how they came to this decision. And this story will be running tonight. Thank you.
Buenas, mi nombre es Joali Estrella, yo soy mamá de un niño de la escuela de Perth Amboy. Yo vengo aquí con 2 temas. Primero, la transportación, la decisión tan repentina de tomar, de cancelar la transportación sin brindar ningún tipo de solución o alternativa para uno poder tener a tan corto tiempo de empezar la escuela. Mi segundo topic es, yo tengo un niño de educación especial.
That's okay. Let me just translate the first one. So mom here has a child that attends Perth Amboy Public Schools. She's inquiring about the abrupt decision that was made in removing transportation and, well, again, looking for solutions. What can they do? How can they get their child to school? What are we looking for? Answers, directions, and she's here for two reasons. The first one was that, and the second one is la segunda.
Okay. La segunda es, yo tengo un niño de educación especial, que él desde que estuvo en preschool estaba en dual language program. Ahora, como le diagnosticaron, lo pusieron en educación especial, pero ahora me le han removido del programa de dual language. Y cada escuela que llamo, ninguna tiene la accesibilidad de educación especial. Entonces a mi hijo me le están quitando la oportunidad de poder continuar su educación en dual language. So, ¿qué solución tienen? ¿Qué brindan? Porque no me dan ninguna alternativa. Solamente lo cambié a la escuela regular and that's it.
Second topic is about her child who is classified coming from the preschool. In preschool, he was
No, se te clasifica ahora.
just recently classified. While he was in preschool, he was in dual language. Her child was assigned to another school that is not within the dual language program, and she feels she wants to know how can we remedy that? How is it that her child can obviously receive the services from special services that he qualifies for, while also participating in the dual language program in kindergarten?
No, él está en cuarto grado ahora.
Okay, he's entering fourth grade. So right now he was transferred to one of our other elementaries, and that's where he is going to attend for now. But again, mom wants to know what will the district do in order to be able to provide both services to her child.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Adriana Rey, tengo un estudiante aquí en Perth Amboy. Perth Amboy es un pueblo que estamos clasificados como un pueblo pobre. Dentro del pueblo habemos muchas madres que son single parents, tienen hijos en escuela elementary, en pre-K y tienen en middle school. Una madre tiene que estar en una factoría o en un trabajo a las 6, 7 de la mañana. ¿Cómo va a dejar de trabajar si es un single parent para tener que llevar a los niños a la escuela si no tienen buses?
So mom here has a child attending Perth Amboy Public Schools. Again, with transportation, her plea is we have single parents raising our children who work various jobs, who have start times 6, 7 in the morning. How are we, as the single parents, to get our child to school? We have single parents that have children in the preschool, in the elementary, in the middle school. And how is it that now instead of taking them to a bus stop to get picked up at a certain time, I need to get to all the schools again? Parents have to be at work, different locations, factories, other offices, 6, 7 in the morning. How am I to do this?
Si no tenemos la posibilidad de que el bus los recoja, tampoco vamos a tener la posibilidad de trabajar para llevarlos a los niños a la escuela, y si vamos a trabajar, vamos a tener que estar pagando $30 en Uber o en taxi para mandar los niños a la escuela. Supuestamente somos un pueblo pobre y tendríamos que tener esa ayuda.
Mom did open up in saying that Perth Amboy, being a resident of Perth Amboy, understanding that Perth Amboy is classified as a poorer district in lower socioeconomic status. With that said, if now parents have to take time off of work to take their child to the various schools, how are they going to be able to provide for their families? How are they going to make up in their salaries that they'll be in their pay that they'll be bringing home? And if not, then now they're spending $30 or so in an Uber or a taxi service to take their child to school in the morning. And again, how is this even going to be able to be accomplished?
En top de que los niños tienen que cruzar major highways. Esta escuela es hermosísima, yo vivo aquí a 2 bloques, pero los niños que vengan del pueblo para aquí tienen que cruzar un highway interestatal, que es la 440, y aquí la 35, que también es otro highway. Yo tengo a mi hijo en Show School, y para ir a Show School también tendría que cruzar los 2 highways. Más allá del dinero y eso, también está en la prioridad, ¿cómo se dice? la seguridad de nuestros niños, porque de aquí a una semana vamos a estar con problemas de que los niños van a estar cruzando y van a estar todos ahí. Después, cuando hayan accidentes, todo el mundo se va a venir a decir, ay, no lo vimos. Cuando estos ya se sabían ustedes sabían de que la transportación no la iban a dar y esperaron al último momento para que nosotros no tuviésemos alcance de cómo poder, un recurso de ver cómo poder mandar a nuestros niños a la escuela. Gracias.
Mom concluded by saying, on top of that, students have to get to the various schools causing highways such as 440 or here in Route 35, which is very dangerous. Stating that if the decision was known so far in advance, why wait to the last minute to let the parents know, and leaving them with very little time to come up with a working solution. Again, keeping in mind that students are crossing, as her son that goes to Shull has to cross either Route 35, and it is very dangerous, or are we all just going to wait for an accident to happen and say, oh my goodness, how did this happen?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Joely Puntiel y yo soy madre de un niño de educación especial, pero un niño que tú lo pones en una esquina y él no sabe para dónde va. No sé si el niño, tengo 17 años recibiendo el servicio en Perth Amboy, pero no sé si es transportación que está dando mal servicio, porque hoy todavía yo no sé si mi hijo tiene transportación, si mi hijo está en el lugar de todos esos padres que no tienen transportación. Entonces, yo necesito, si es problema de ustedes o problema de transportación que no está haciendo su trabajo y nos tiene a nosotros en este suspenso, que nosotros no sabemos cómo vamos a mandar a nuestros hijos a la escuela. Yo el jueves no sé si mi hijo Giancarlo tiene un autobús, porque todavía no he recibido ninguna información de transportación.
Mom here is of a student that is classified through special services, and she is still waiting to hear if he will qualify for transportation. He is a child that unfortunately gets very lost and disorientated and cannot communicate well. No puede Right, so very little understanding of where he is, where he's going, and to even be able to communicate that. She is wanting to know where are the transportation notices, when will she hear, if come Thursday her son will be able to receive transportation. As Mom says, it's not like she can let him walk to school on his own, and she's just waiting to hear from them.
Y también ustedes, como los miembros del Departamento de Educación, tienen que saber, no este tiempo, todos los años, año tras año, ya son 17 años que yo recibo mala información de transportación. Nunca ellos están pendientes del niño, cómo el niño va a la escuela, me cambian como ellos les da la gana de cambiar. Y eso ya es un tema de que yo sé que hay muchos padres aquí que están como yo. Y transportación tiene que tener mejor, ¿cómo les explico? Ella tiene que ser más responsable con nuestros hijos. Porque yo empiezo a trabajar, yo tengo que trabajar, y si no me le dan transportación, ¿cómo yo voy a mandar al niño a la escuela? Entonces, no lo podré mandar.
Mom is saying that in the 17 years she's been attending school, unfortunately she's not had the best experience with transportation. She receives misinformation, they change routes on her, they change times on her, and she is stating that transportation needs to be held more accountable to how the information is being disseminated, and most importantly that it should be accurate in a timely manner. If transportation is not granted to her son and she needs to work, how is she going to send her son to school? She leaves in the morning early, and she will not be able to bring him to school. But again, she is waiting for transportation to reach out to her and communicate whether or not her son will be receiving transportation and the routes information.
Eso era, y quiero que sepan, cada padre que está aquí, que yo apoyo lo que ustedes están pasando y que yo estoy con ustedes, porque aunque me le den transportación a mi hijo, porque sé que él se la merece, no que se la merece, él la necesita, yo estoy con ustedes. Muchas gracias.
A message to the parents that she is here standing by them. She supports them in their advocacy for transportation for their children. As she awaits to hear, she understands that her son needs the transportation and he might be getting it. She is standing by their side in this journey.
Good evening. My name is Janae Gonzalez. I lived in Perth, Amboy all my life. I went to school here. I am speaking for somebody in the audience. She has 3 children in the Perth Amboy Public Schools. She has one in McGuinness School, one in Willen School, and a preschooler starting in Hemeleski. School does start at 8:30, 8:35. She just wants a solution as to how she's expected to get all of her children to school on time, because this was something that was said last minute about the transportation, and how is she expected to pick up all of her kids when school ends at 3 o'clock. It's not doable. She is a single mother, so she just needs, an answer as to how she's expected to do all of that. Also, we're not understanding how she received a permission slip from Willen School so her child can walk. He's in 3rd grade. He has never walked by himself, so how do you guys think it's safe for us to let our children walk by themselves? You wouldn't let your children walk by themselves. We don't feel safe. We don't feel comfortable. We just need answers as to how we're going to approach this problem that we were presented with a week before school started. And yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
Ok, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Pamela Vides. Vivo acá en Perth Amboy 25 años. Mi problema también es lo del transporte, porque tengo un niño que está en Hemeleski, ese es su 2º año. Recibí la carta recién la semana pasada, no estaba acá en el país, así es que me tocó llamar de otro país acá a contactarme con la escuela para ver si era verdad de que no iba a recibir transporte. Entro a trabajar 8:30, mi hijo también entra a las 8:30, entonces es un conflicto de horarios. Cuando tenía el autobús, por lo menos podía dejarlo un poquito más temprano, lo recogían y yo me podía ir a trabajar.
Ms. Vides, whose son attends Himalaski, his 2nd year, receiving the letter last week. She was out of the country when she received it, and she reached out to the school because her son would enter at 8:30 in the morning, and she needs to be at work at 8:30 in the morning. When she was receiving transportation last year, the bus stop was earlier, where she was able to make the accommodations necessary to take him to the bus stop and then head straight to work.
Me tocó contactarme con la escuela y me dijeron de que habían programas que recibían al niño para un programa de Before School, pero tenía que pagar, YMCA, $150 al mes para poder dejarlo a él temprano y yo poder ir a trabajar. Es al mes, 150 al mes, para que lo lleven a la escuela. Esa fue la única solución que me dio la escuela Hemeleski, y esa es mi preocupación, porque,
When mom called Himalaski and she asked for any solutions, they were able to provide that there are before school programs that do bring the children to school, such as the YMCA, where she was quoted at $150 for the month for her son to be shuttled to Himalaski in the morning.
Entonces, ustedes nos quitaron el servicio de bus, pero no ofrecieron, como dijeron anteriormente otros padres, una solución, ¿cierto? O sea, la solución. Entonces mi pregunta es esa: ¿por qué fue que quitaron los autobuses y qué se hizo con ese dinero de los autobuses? ¿Con qué? O sea, ¿qué fue el reemplazo? Y también necesito una solución para ver, si no tenemos los autobuses, ¿qué podemos hacer con nuestros hijos
para poder llegar temprano al trabajo o para que los recojan o para ayudar a los padres que no tienen, pues no pueden manejar o tienen que ir temprano a trabajar o tienen diferentes hijos en otras escuelas.
Again, Mom is saying we're looking for a solution for parents that have to work and unfortunately don't have the means to pay for before or after care to take their child to and from school. What can we do? What can be done? Again, parents have to go to work at the same time the students are entering, and why was transportation removed? And Mom wants to know what happened to the money that was used to pay for transportation.
Buenas noches para los miembros de la mesa y buenas noches para todos los padres que están aquí acompañando. Creo que voy a hablar del mismo tópico, del mismo problema que tenemos todos. Mi nombre es Miguel Ángel Díaz, tengo 3 niñas y al igual que ustedes también estoy preocupado por la situación que tenemos.
Mr. Miguel Ángel Díaz, who has 3 children attending the public schools here in Perth Amboy. He is here for the same reason that many of the parents have spoken regarding transportation and how we can resolve this matter.
Nosotros los niños que tenemos, no sé si, creo que la mayoría de los padres que tenemos esta preocupación es por las razones siguientes. En primer lugar, nosotros no vivimos tan cerca de esta escuela para que los niños puedan llegar hasta aquí fácilmente. Casi todos los niños que nosotros, que los padres que están aquí acompañándome, es porque están a distancia y se nos haría difícil a nosotros tener que pagar taxi o nosotros tener que dejar de ir a laborar para traer a nuestros niños aquí. No nos van a subir el salario ninguna de las empresas que nosotros trabajamos para nosotros responsabilizarnos a pagar taxi. Ni el Estado de Perth Amboy ni las empresas tampoco se van a comprometer con eso, que es una de las primeras preocupaciones.
One of the worries that Dad brings forward is, again, he does not make the means to make the amount needed to pay for transportation in the mornings for the kids, and on top of that, many students have to walk quite a distance and cross some dangerous roads, such here as at the high school where it's located, students coming over from Convery Boulevard. Again, the employers are not going to raise their salaries, are not going to give them any financial assistance. Perth Amboy is not going to give them any financial assistance. So where do we find ourselves, and how is it that we're going to solve the matter here with how are we going to get our children to school safely and still go to work to provide for our families?
La otra preocupación es, no sé si ellos como padres les dolería ver un niño caminar aproximadamente 40 o 50 minutos para llegar aquí. A nosotros sí como padres nos va a doler, a nosotros sí como padres nos va a preocupar que un niño coja 50 o 60 minutos para llegar hasta aquí, exponiéndose al peligro de caminar, de cruzar la calle, de que mal personas puedan encontrarlo, y nosotros eso sí nos duele. Yo sé que ustedes como padres, nosotros exponiéndole eso también creo que debe de dolerle. Muchísimas gracias.
As parents, Dad asks how is it that you would feel to see our children walking 45 to 60 minutes at any time, as some members of the audience said, or in the cold. It is painful to see our young children walk. It would hurt him to see them walk 45 to 60 minutes to just arrive to school in the mornings under any conditions. And he is hoping that you, as parents as well, would keep that in mind.
Before we go on, would you mind just for the community that does not speak English translating for me? I'm going to ask that the community please be mindful. I know you are all here to support, but I can tell you from up here, it is hard to hear the speaker when you are clapping or showing support, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I do want our board members to be able to hear everybody. So I just ask that you be mindful of that and just allow the speakers to finish so that we can hear you. I know all of our board members want to be able to do that, and it's difficult when you're clapping and showing support in that way. We're missing part of the discussion. Thank you.
Se le pide por favor a los miembros que están aquí presentes a proveerles respeto a lo que van a hablar y cuando ellos terminen que por favor aguanten los aplausos. Entendemos que están aquí apoyando el mensaje que se le está presentando, pero se le hace bien difícil a los miembros de la Junta y los miembros sentados en la mesa a poder escuchar completamente el mensaje cuando a veces hay las interrupciones de los aplausos. Una vez más se entiende que están aquí en apoyo y están de acuerdo en el mensaje que le está dando. Por favor, se le pide demostrarle ese respeto a los que van a hablar para que todos los que estén sentados en este escenario puedan escuchar atentamente todo lo que le está hablando y presentando. Muchas gracias.
Saludos, buenas noches, mi nombre es Leani. A todos los invitados y personal que realizaron la reunión del día de hoy, muchas gracias por su tiempo brindado. Intentaré dar mi discurso con la confianza y la decisión que transmitimos el público presente hoy, en especial a mi madre, con su gran esfuerzo y dedicación. Recalcando, vinimos todos con el deseo y motivación de conseguir transporte. Algunos de nosotros con padres inmigrantes sin recursos móviles, velando por un futuro cercano, trabajando.
Greetings and good evening. My name is Liana, and for all those that are present and here at this meeting, we thank you so much for your time and the attention given to this discussion. It is with great confidence and the decision that has been given to the it is with great confidence with the decision that has been transmitted to the public present here today, especially for my mother, who is with great effort and dedication looking for ways that she would be able to express on the importance of having transportation. Some of us here, some of the parents are immigrants without resources, without cars, and we are looking towards a better future.
Requerimos una ayuda, igual como el peligro recurre en las alumbradas calles en las cuales transitamos el día de hoy. Me levanto temprano para despedir a mi madre, dirigirme al gimnasio, llegar y prepararme para la labor que me pertenece como estudiante. Brindemos por la seguridad de todos, sin olvidar que los jóvenes de hoy en día necesitamos un empuje hacia el futuro. Ayudémonos como comunidad, desde mí para ustedes, como habitante, como hermana, como estudiante de Perth Amboy New High School, como hija y como ser humano. Si nos verán volar en un mañana es porque hoy en día nos dieron alas.
We're looking to work together to find help on how we can find a way to solve this situation with crossing dangerous streets, which we need to in order to be able to reach to our schools. I wake up early in the morning, I say goodbye to my mom, I head towards the gym, then I get ready for the work the work laid before me. We are looking for safety and security for all, without forgetting about the youth that today are in need and need that support and push to reach towards a better future. Let's help one another as a community. I ask that all of you together to work together as a community, as brothers and sisters, as a student of the Perth Amboy High School, and as a daughter.
Please remember, if you see us fly tomorrow, it's because you gave us the win today.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es María Tavares. Yo tengo una niña que viene para esta escuela. Según tengo entendido, a los niños de high school no le dan transportación. Pero yo vivo en Amboy Avenue y creo que no es posible que mi hija de 14 años, para ustedes quizá es grande, pero para mí es pequeña, cruce la 35, venga aquí caminando.
We have here Ms. Maria Tavares, whose daughter will be attending Perth Amboy High School. And mom understands that the high school students will not be receiving transportation. She lives on Amboy Avenue, and she wants to know how is it that one expects for her 14-year-old daughter. She says that you may not think that is young, but for her she's still very young to walk from Amboy Avenue here, crossing Route 35.
Para ella venir aquí a la escuela, tiene que venir, pasar la 440. Yo me di cuenta que esta escuela no tiene ni siquiera un cruce peatonal para que los niños puedan cruzar seguro, sabiendo ustedes que esta calle es bien peligrosa hasta para los adultos.
Her daughter needs to cross over 440 to reach Perth Amboy High School, and understanding how dangerous that is, she was very surprised to see that they didn't have a pedestrian crossing. Once again, for all of you to know and understand how dangerous it is to cross Route 35, even for adults, and yet we're asking her 14-year-old daughter.
Supuestamente quitaron la transportación porque no tienen recursos, porque la high school le llevó todo el presupuesto. Yo no soy administradora y cuando yo tengo un presupuesto en mente, yo sé hasta dónde llego. Supongo yo que esta high school ya estaba programada lo que se iba a gastar para que ahora salgan con el tema de que no tienen recursos para pagar transportación.
So mom is saying that she understands, it's her understanding that the reason there is no transportation is because we don't have any financial resources, that this new high school has absorbed all financial resources. Mom is stating that knowing that this school was to be built and having a budget in mind, it should have been budgeted as well. As she says, if I may not be an administrator, but however, if I have a budget that I need to adhere to, I know that I need to plan accordingly.
Aparte de la transportación, supuestamente también quitaron enfermeras, security, sabiendo cómo está la seguridad en este pueblo para nuestros niños, quitando security, ponen en riesgo más la vida de nuestros estudiantes.
Also, not only was transportation taken away, but there are nursing positions and security that was also eliminated from mom's understanding, and keeping in mind the importance of the safety and security of our students.
Yo espero que las voces de nosotros no queden atrás, no queden en el olvido. Sentada ahí me he dado cuenta que pocos de los que están sentados ahí no están poniendo asunto. He visto 2 o 3 personas del grupo que solamente ponen atención a lo que estamos hablando. Yo espero, porque ustedes como padres, supongo yo que ustedes tienen sus niños muy acomodados en una escuela o no sé qué. Nosotros somos los pobres y somos los que estamos pasando y pensando cómo vamos a transportar a nuestros hijos.
So mom hopes that all of you on the stage are paying attention. She's been keeping an eye at all members sitting, and from what she sees and gathers, she sees very few have actually paid attention to those speaking here. She hopes that the message tonight is not forgotten or put towards the back, that a solution has come forward. She understands that, you know, all of you as parents, you probably have your children already set up for the new school year somewhere, and here we are, she is here as parents that have not the same resources and means, needing assistance to be able to do what you do.
Yo espero que nuestros reclamos sean atendidos y yo personalmente, si no hay ninguna solución, yo personalmente estoy dispuesta a comunicarnos con los medios para que vengan a ver si nos resuelven los problemas. Gracias.
Mom is looking for a solution, and she looks forward that she is heard along with all parents speaking. If not, she is ready to continue with all and any resources to find a solution by any means.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Candy Campos, soy parte de aquí de la comunidad. Soy ciudadana de aquí de Perth Amboy por 31 años. Mis hijos mayor ha ido a la high school, ya está en la universidad, pero tengo 2 hijos, la mediana que va a asistir ahorita aquí a esta high school, y ayer tuve la oportunidad de venir con mi esposo y admirar esta escuela que realmente tiene la mejor tecnología, tiene los avances tecnológicos, la seguridad muy bien, pero se olvidaron de 2 detalles muy grandes. Esta escuela, tengo entendido que duró 10 años para que la construyeran.
So we have Ms. Candice Campos, who has children here in the system. Her oldest just graduated from Perth Amboy High. Her second child will be attending Perth Amboy High School, and she was able to come for the community walks, and she walked throughout this beautiful school. She understands that this project took approximately 10 years in the making.
Y algo que me sorprendió también, que estaban hablando, que cuando nos dieron la exposición solamente fue en inglés. Yo, gracias a Dios, sí hablo inglés, pero en este momento quiero hablar español porque quiero que las personas que hablan español también sepan de lo que estoy hablando.
And she is here, she is speaking in Spanish, although she does speak in English. She wants to make sure that all the parents are able to understand and hear her out. She was... Mom is saying that also, not only upon arriving to the beginning of the meeting was the presentation done in English, but yesterday throughout the tours, all the information that was provided was also done only in English.
En esos 10 años que se tardaron en construir esta escuela, creo que debieron haber planificado perfectamente dos cosas. Lo principal, la seguridad de nuestros hijos, cómo van a venir, en qué transportación van a hacer, cómo se van a planear las rutas de transporte. La mayoría de aquí somos de bajos recursos, como ya todos lo hemos dicho, pero por desgracia, por ser de bajos recursos, deberían de tener más oportunidades, más accesos, más programas que nos ayuden. Por desgracia, hay otros pueblos que tienen más dinero y que no son de bajos recursos y tienen más programas que nosotros.
So Mom says in the 10 years that the planning and the creation of the high school took place, two things should be kept in mind. First and foremost, the security and well-being of our students. How are the students arriving to school? How are they being supervised? Understanding that as herself, other parents are of poorer and lesser means, not like other districts that do have more financial means and be able to give other opportunities. It is because of that reason that they are of lesser financial means. They should be given more opportunities and more chances to be able to study and reach their goals.
Mi pregunta es si realmente no se tiene el presupuesto. O sea, ¿por qué si la escuela donde estaba ubicada anteriormente, la high school, en esa escuela no se movió la escuela dual de Ford, en la cual se está pagando una renta, y la escuela anterior, la main campus, como se dice, está desocupada? ¿Por qué no se movieron los estudiantes ahí, que es una escuela muy amplia, muy grande, y se elimina y se deja de pagar esa renta? Porque
Mom is saying that as you were all budgeting for this school and this move, why wasn't the move from DLS also budgeted? We have what used to be known as main campus on Eagle Avenue sitting there vacant. We could have brought over DLS over to Eagle Avenue where there is plenty of room and space for everybody.
Otra cosa de que me preocupa es la transportación. Esta escuela está ubicada en la ruta 35, que es un state highway. Por ley tengo entendido que se tiene que dar transportación a los alumnos, porque es una ruta muy transitada. Yo he manejado por esa y he mirado cantidad de accidentes y personas que han fallecido. Simplemente la semana pasada hubo un accidente muy trágico donde una persona falleció. Entonces, ahora, ¿qué esperamos de nuestros hijos? Venir caminando desde la playita, desde todos los... Yo sé que por ley, o una de las reglas, tiene que ser 2.5 millas. Pero aunque nosotros no vivimos más cerca, simplemente por estar en este highway o por estar en ese riesgo de venir de dar transportación a nuestros hijos.
The other topic of concern that Mom brings, the second, is that of the location of the high school being on Route 35. How is it, what is the plan for our students to arrive safely? She understands that it needs to be 2.5 miles from the school in order to qualify for transportation. But again, even if you live nearby, you still have to cross over Route 35, a state highway. It is her understanding that because it is a state highway, transportation should be awarded to the students. It is as she has driven up and down 35 where she has seen many motor vehicle accidents, of which just recently there was a motor vehicle accident where a pedestrian was hit and unfortunately passed from that accident.
Espero que nos escuchen y que tengan en consideración nuestras exigencias, no exigencias, pero son nuestras necesidades como residentes de aquí de Perth Amboy y como votantes que hicimos para que ustedes fueran elegidos. Gracias.
Mom states that it is her hope that you are hearing her and all the parents speaking tonight. as the parents with their concerns, as registered voters, that we're able to find a solution. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Betsaida. I have a daughter. She's 4 years old. She goes to the school here. And I just want to say about the same topic, about the transportation school. We just want any answer that you can guys tell us, because we just received the message the last week, and now we don't know what we can do. So they begin the school the next week, and we don't have nothing to do. Now we working, so we can start the work for just go to the school and put the children over there. So if they have any options or any solutions that you can guys tell us, it's good for us. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es César Romero. Yo me gradué de Perth Amboy High School, fui a McGuinness, Willens, ¿verdad? Y disculpas que llegué un poco tarde porque no vi la presentación al principio, pero llegué del trabajo y tuve que caminar hasta acá. Y mientras caminaba, caminé por Ruta 35 y entre que yo estaba cruzando casi me golpeó un carro, ¿verdad? No por no estar poniendo atención, yo estaba fijándome nada más que cuando estaba cruzando, estos carros van rápido, ¿verdad? Es Ruta 35 y hay salidas que tienen que hacer que no tienen luces. Entonces mi primera pregunta es, ¿qué servicios están ofreciendo en términos de, aparte de los buses, ayudar a cruzar a estas partes de Ruta 35, ¿verdad? Esa es mi primera pregunta. No, la segunda parte es que mientras yo estaba sentado, yo entiendo que hay reglas que dictan cuando se hacen las preguntas y cuando ustedes responden, ¿verdad? Y yo traté de buscar las reglas en la internet, pero no me funciona la internet aquí, porque yo soy estudiante, yo sé que es porque el edificio no deja que internet, que no es Wi-Fi, entre, y les pido, por favor, que en juntas futuras, por favor, tengan Wi-Fi accesible para los padres que estén aquí, para que puedan buscar esa información, ¿verdad? Internet pública. Y si no pueden hacer eso, que también tengan las reglas escritas en inglés y en español para que podamos leerlas, ¿verdad? Yo sé que parte de las reglas dictan que ustedes no pueden responder en este instante a las preguntas y los comentarios, pero la comunidad tiene que saber eso y francamente no es muy respetuoso. Yo sé que a lo mejor es más rápido hacerlo de esa manera, pero las respuestas a las preguntas que hacemos deberían darse en el momento que las damos, ¿verdad? And just to give you a quick overview, on my way here after work, I walked down Route 35 because I have 2 siblings that are going to come to the high school. On my way here, I was almost hit by a car because there are sections of Route 35 that are exits that don't have lights. And my first question is, are you going to have crossing guards until we get this bus situation sorted out? Second thing is, I know that there are rules of governance that dictate when we ask questions and make comments and when you respond. Now, I tried to look up those rules, but my internet's not working. And because I am a former Perth Amboy High School student, I know that sometimes that's because the way the building is constructed. So for future meetings, I ask that you please have accessible Wi-Fi for parents so that they can look up those rules, or alternatively, that you have the rules of governance printed out in English and in Spanish so that parents know that there's a question and answer period, including an executive session, which, by the way, asking the questions and then having to wait until after the executive session is concluded to get responses is not the most respectful way to do it. Perhaps it's faster for all of you serving your time up there, but the questions really should be answered after a person comes up here to speak. So I'm going to do my research, try to find out how other school districts do it, but I know at least here in Perth Amboy, the City Council does it in that fashion, and I implore you to consider that as an alternative for the future. Thanks so much.
Hi, my name is Myra Gonzalez, and just like every other parent, I'm also concerned about the transportation. Now, I've been calling all day, and I just found out today about the meeting, and I spoke to someone in the superintendent department, and nobody told me about the meeting today. I actually found out about the meeting today when I called a news reporter, and which is really concerning to me because I live in a waterfront. They're telling me that my son is ineligible for transportation, and it's ridiculous that you think that my son, because I was told that the parents, we're responsible for our kids getting to school, whether they get here or not. You know, there's no transportation provided. They don't even have bus passes for them. Nothing. There's no solution at all. So I contacted a few news reporters, and they're willing to cover the story, okay? And I'm like trying to get some kind of information as far as why is it that my son isn't eligible from the waterfront to come to this school, and they're telling me that he doesn't meet, it has to be 2.5, and I think I'm further than that, but they're saying that he doesn't meet the criteria for him to actually get bused, and it's really dangerous for my son to even, it's ridiculous to think that I'm gonna have my son walk to this school. So if it's this ridiculous, you know, I think that all the parents, for the first day of school, there's reporters, if we don't have any answers, there's reporters they're going to cover. They want to cover the story. So maybe for the first day of school, if there's still no bus information and we don't have any access to anything, I think the first day of school, if they cover the story, I think none of the students should go to school. The kids should stay home. The first day of school, if there's no transportation, and maybe it'll send a message and maybe we'll get some kind of answers or some kind of solution. Because right now it's really ridiculous that the parents have no information, but we're responsible for our kids coming to school. I just think it's ridiculous, you know, and there's still no answers, and school is right around the corner, you know. So hopefully this gets resolved, and maybe, you know, if we don't have any answers, keep your kids home the first day of school. Maybe we'll send a message.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Nancy Maldonado. Vivo por la Playita. Tengo un niño que va a venir a esta escuela y tengo una hija que está en la McGuinness. Mi preocupación es porque me han negado el transporte para mi hijo. Entonces, yo hacerlo caminar desde allá para acá es difícil, es peligroso. Entonces, yo me pongo a pensar.
So mom here has two children, one attending McGuinness, one here at the high school. She lives by the waterfront, and she understands that her son does not qualify for transportation, but yet how is it that she is expected to let her son walk from the waterfront over here? It is very dangerous, and again, she doesn't understand how this is even possible right now.
Yo he venido caminando hasta este parque que está aquí y he tenido varios accidentes en el que me han querido atropellar. Me pongo a pensar, cuando mi hijo venga para acá y ande cruzando todas estas calles, ¿qué le va a pasar? ¿Quién me va a responder si a mi hijo le pasa algo? Quiero saber.
Mom has walked from the waterfront to one of the parks here by the high school, of which there have been occasions where she has almost been hit by a car. So again, she wants to know who she will be holding accountable should something happen to her son walking from the waterfront here to the school. What's going to happen? Who will take responsibility for her son's safety?
Yo, como muchas mamás que están aquí presentes, trabajo. Entro desde bien temprano. No tengo carro porque no sé manejar. No puedo traer a mi hijo con un carro. No tengo el presupuesto suficiente para estar pagando un Uber todos los días. ¿Cómo le voy a hacer para mandar a mi hijo?
Mom works really early in the morning, and she does not have the financial means to be paying for public transportation to bring her son. She has to go in early in the morning before they get ready for school, and how can she then pay for an Uber or other form of public transportation to bring her child to school? Like many parents here, they have to work and don't have the financial means to do so.
Y yo no creo que es el único hogar que está pasando por esta situación, porque veo que aquí varios padres que están en la misma situación y están preocupados cómo le van a hacer. Y yo que tengo un hijo que es hasta acá y estoy preocupada, imagínense los padres que se quedaron sin transporte en diferentes escuelas. ¿Cómo le van a hacer para pagar esos Uber para mandar a sus hijos?
Mom feels she is not the only parent here for what she sees. Another thing Mom did mention is she does not drive, she does not have a car. And if it is not, she knows she's not alone. How is it that parents that don't have those financial means, how are they going to get their kids to school? How is this going to happen?
Yo no comprendo en mi cabeza cómo es que una semana antes nos están avisando que nos quedamos sin autobús y no nos tomaron en cuenta desde tiempo atrás. Y ustedes ya sabían que no iba a haber autobús para que nosotros tomáramos las medidas necesarias para organizarnos dentro de nuestro hogar, para ver cómo le vamos a hacer con nuestros hijos o unirnos a ustedes para encontrar una solución juntos.
Mom just cannot understand or conceive how is it that it is now 1 week before school that she is being informed that she does not, that her children will not have transportation to school, when you've known this for quite some time, it should have been communicated way beforehand, not the week before school starts, so that parents have the opportunity to be able to unite, find a solution, and find means and a way to bring their child or children to school.
Pónganse a pensar cuando llegue la nieve o cuando llueva, ¿qué va a pasar de esos niños?
Come and think for 1 second, when it's snowing or when it's raining, what's going to happen to the children then?
Tomen en cuenta, por favor, todo lo que aquí la gente les está diciendo y lo que les estamos diciendo, porque es un tema muy preocupante, el cual está en riesgo también la seguridad de nuestros hijos. Gracias.
Mom states she implores that you please keep in mind the message that is being said here tonight, not just by her, but by all the parents present, for the well-being of their children. Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Dionila Romero. Creo que tocar este tema ya es muy repetitivo, ¿verdad? Pero desgraciadamente es la situación que nos vemos obligados. Soy mamá soltera de 4 niños. Tengo que entrar a las 6 de la mañana a trabajar. Entonces, como dijo la compañera anterior, no me explico cómo esos niños de mi casa a la high school anterior eran 49 minutos, ahora son 12 minutos más. No quiero imaginarme el tiempo de frío.
So Mom is here talking about her 4 children that attend the public schools. She understands this has been a repetitive topic, but nonetheless, it is an unfortunate topic that she still needs to talk about. She enters work at 6 in the morning, early in the morning, and how is it that she is going to be able to have her kids come to school? Where she lives, her child used to take, it used to take 49 minutes to get from their home to Eagle Avenue. Now an additional 12 minutes have been added to the walking commute.
Entonces, yo me pregunto si nuestros hijos son el futuro de este país, el futuro de la nación, y ahora mismo a una semana los dejan tirados. Entonces, yo me pregunto, ¿qué van a hacer esos padres? Ustedes están viendo que en estos momentos los niños, ahora aunque sean grandes, hay que tratarlos como si fueran pequeños, porque aunque esta carretera es bien peligrosa, yo también he visto aquí en la esquina muchos accidentes anteriormente. Entonces yo quiero que ustedes nos den una solución para esto.
She is looking for a solution. Again, how is it the week before school that we say that the children are our future, that they are the ones that are going to lead the way, but yet here we have abandoned them and we've let them just not attend to their needs to be able to come to school safely. How is it then walking on Route 35 when she has seen for herself various motor vehicle accidents? How then? She's looking for a solution. She's asking for a solution.
Y por último, el tema que quiero tocar también. Yo estuve a 1 minuto de salir por esa puerta. No sé si ustedes se dieron cuenta, había el doble de cantidad de padres de los que están ahora. Y el principio de la información, después de la obra de trato que estuvo muy bonita, no estaban dando la información en español, el reporte, que yo no hablo inglés, ¿verdad? Desgraciadamente, y he escuchado a muchos padres que la única razón que no vienen a las reuniones es porque no entienden nada. Venimos y nos vamos. ¿Por qué? Porque no hay punto de estar aquí, porque no sabemos de lo que están hablando y también nos interesa a nuestros hijos, por eso estamos aquí. Gracias.
So Mom says, I don't know if you noticed, there were twice the amount of parents here in the auditorium. Some have left. When she arrived, she was able to see the beautiful production of our students from the play. Then afterwards, the presentations that were done in English, and she was not able to understand any of the information that was being communicated. She says that she hears that the reasons that parents don't attend these meetings is because everything is done in English and they're not able to understand. She gives herself as an example that she unfortunately does not speak or understand English, and she was not able to capture the message that was delivered with this evening's presentations.
All right, so I'm coming on a different topic. I wanted to talk, I know part of the presentation on the minutes that you guys have is for the approval of the girls ministry and boys ministry program, Missioneritas and Royal Rangers. part of Iglesia Ciudad de Refugio, part of Church of City of Refuge in Perth Amboy. I want to thank you first for the privilege. For the last 2 years, we've been able to hold our program in the Richardson School. It is a Bible-based program, but it's open to the community. We have been part of many community projects as the night, family night. We've done cleaning in the city with the kids. We have the police coming to have a day with the police come and speak to our children. We had the the fire department come and speak to our children. We hold a program from kindergarten to 12th grade. We have several different staff members. I'm one of the teachers for the high school girls. We separate the girls and the boys in the gym. We have the girls, the younger girls get something like this, like similar to the Girl Scouts, where they get patches for the things that they do, for the projects that they do, for the community projects. We've gone to Amboy Care Center. We had a group of kids go there to do part of a community project. I just wanted to present to you this great program that we have, that we're reaching, again, not only the people from the church, and the good thing and the blessing that we have to do it in a public school is that people are not scared to go into a church and say, oh, this is only a church thing. They're willing to go to a public school and say, I want to do this. So it's open to the community. We have family members that are there that come, that their parents don't go to church. It's open to everybody, and it's such a great program. We just did camping in Cheesequake State Park, where parents came with us, and we did kickball and fishing, and we had parents that came and participated with their children, and we know that's a goal for our community. We need parents to be involved with their children. We need kids to be off their phone and kicking balls and throwing football and participating in things and learning how to socialize. We're teaching them life skills where they're learning how to socialize with other kids, learning how to deal with their emotions, how to be good citizens, how to respect their parents, how to be respectful and honorable, how to have a good self-esteem, how to have morals. That's what this program is all about. So I just wanted to let you guys know, and I thank you. I know I get very passionate when I come to this microphone. I know that you guys have the ability to make strong decisions for our community, for our schools, for our children, and a lot of it is in your hands, right? So, I come here all the time to just speak on those matters, because I know it's in your hands, but a lot of times people don't come to speak on the behalf of the things that we need, and that's why I come very passionate. I have respect each and one of you that are up there, amen, as parents. And I say amen because I know the Lord is with me as I here to come and speak on this program that I'm so passionate about. We're losing these things, Boys and Girls Club. I know the YMCA does a lot of things, but we need people to stand up for our children in things like this. Now on a different topic, sexual curriculum. You guys know I'm very passionate about that. I'm one of those parents that have come year after year. I'm advocating for us to have a form to be sent out to the parents and not have the parents have to go on the computer and print out the information to take their children out. Yo estoy aquí en esta noche para ese currículum sexual nuevo que nosotros tenemos para las escuelas. Para los padres no tiene que firmar un papel o sacarlo de la computadora para printarlo, para sacar sus niños de ese I don't know how to say curriculum in Spanish, ese curriculum que ellos tienen en la escuela ahora. Muchos de los padres tienen que entrar en la computadora a printar un papel para decir que tú no quieres tus niños en esos clases. So I'm here to say that, can you guys, the same way when we had the DARE program, there was a paper that came with my daughter to say, do you want her in the program or don't you want her in the program? They sent me an actual paper, and of course I wanted her to be part of the DARE program, but the same way that you provided that sheet, you should provide parents a sheet to sign off on the curriculum. If you wanted to do it on the parents portal like you want us to do for the taking pictures, well then have that there so they can sign it on the parents portal. But we can't do everything that's easy for the school on parents portal or that. But that seems a little bit more a topic that we don't want to ruffle feathers. We don't want really people to talk about. We're making parents print it on a computer, and we know that half of this district may not even have a printer home to even go onto the curriculum of paps.net to be able to look for the curriculum, to look for where they got to sign it and print it and then bring it to the school. So let's make it easy if there's parents that want to sign their kids out of the curriculum. I'm done with that. I got one more after that. Then I'm done. You could just reset it if you want. the dual language program. We know that now the 7th and 8th graders are not having the opportunity to be part of that program. We spoke earlier, the superintendent, on the stamp of food literacy, how we've have increased in that. I want to know, how does that affect now the kids that are still in dual language that will not proceed to be in dual language for 7th and 8th grade? Is that still something that's going to be an opportunity for them, or is that no longer an opportunity? Is the dual language eventually going to be erased? I know we had plans of going to the other school on Eagle Street, but I don't think that's a plan right now, because that's probably why 7th and 8th grade guys, they were taken out. So now we have the school that's filled with 4th, 5th, and 6th grade to accommodate that. So how does that affect now the new dual language program? My daughter's in dual language. She's going to the Ford School, and I don't know how that affects for the future on that program. If they can explain that to me, how that's going to be now, the new program. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Halligan with Perth, Amboy. Esto lo voy a decir en inglés y en español. First, I'll say it in English. I think a lot of people, a lot of parents in this room have been very deeply affected by the lack of adequate transportation. And so, you know, after hearing everybody else's story, you know, me and my family, we have a similar story. So I think in addition to that, there are, imagine the amount of families who didn't get to make it tonight to this, who also, you know, don't know how they're going to be able to leave their child at school. And so what I have here for all the parents, I don't know if anybody has done this yet, but I have a petition here on my phone. I'm going to wait outside with the QR code. Voy a esperar afuera con una petición, un código QR, para que mostramos a toda la gente del pueblo, para que vean como el gran problema que está la cosa de transportación. Así que me puede encontrar afuera después de eso, escanea el código y firmamos esta petición. Empezamos por algún lado, porque yo no sé cuánto tiempo vamos a tener que esperar por una respuesta, pero yo creo que la respuesta empieza aquí, con nosotros. No sé de ustedes, pero eso.
Just 3 brief questions. Well, just comments. This PTO, Parent Teacher Association, they used to provide translation services. They have these little devices that people wear if they only speak English, and then they have somebody actively translating them, right? They did a great job back then. If that's something that y'all can implement, I know y'all are expecting bigger crowds, that would be something that's ideal. Second thing is a more specific question, just if we don't have the busing system in place right now, are we actively pursuing grant money? What's being done? Is there a plan in terms of that? And lastly, I'd just like to thank the translator. I don't know her name, but this meeting would have been possible without her. You did a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Buenas noches. Dr. Roman, it's nice to be home. You were very inspirational. I may not look old, but I am. Mr. George knows that, and Mr. Anderson knows that. You're smiling up there, Mr. Anderson. Let's fast forward back to 1972. Oh, Susan Keating.
Tenemos con nosotros esta noche la señora Keating, que está aquí para hablar, como le agradecer al doctor Román por su presentación y su inspiración de esta noche, en su mensaje sobre la escuela secundaria que tenemos aquí hoy presente. Como dice la señora Keating, ella dice, no que ella luce vieja, pero es mayor, yo voy a decir, son las palabras de ella. La señora Keating, ella dice, vamos a tomar un paseo hacia atrás, en el pasado, al 1900.
fall of 72.
El otoño del 1972, 72.
Okay, stay with me. I am like you now, a grandmother. I teach CCD. I understand. What I want you to understand is, in the fall of 1972, and these board members know, we had many of the problems that you are talking about before that school year started.
Como muchos de ustedes, estoy aquí, soy abuela, soy maestra de la educación religiosa en su iglesia. Y lo que ustedes no saben posiblemente, como algunos de nuestros miembros de la Junta de Educación, es que en ese otoño del 72 tuvimos los mismos problemas que estamos encontrándonos nosotros hoy.
My whole life has been Perth Amboy. I am a Cerulo. We immigrated from Italy. The way you have bodegas, yes, so did we, on Washington Street.
Ella es de Perth Amboy, toda su vida en Perth Amboy. También inmigrante de Italia, tal como hoy en día se puede conocer y ver las bodegas en nuestros vecindarios. Ella también tuvo algo parecido como eso aquí en Perth Amboy.
My Uncle Albert Cerulo was president of this Board of Education in the 1960s, where the first phase of the building program started for that wave of immigrants.
El señor Albert Surro, que es el tío de ella, fue el presidente de la Junta en ese año del
Mid-60s.
en los 60, el medio de los 60, 60, en cual él se encontró haciendo el papel de presidente de la Junta. También comenzando el programa, dirigiendo los servicios a los inmigrantes aquí en Perth Amboy.
And my late father, John Cerulo, was a graduate in 1936 of this high school on Eagle Avenue, and he hired the first Latinas in the banking industry and broke that glass wall.
El papá de ella, que en paz descanse, fue del año
1936.
En el año 36, que se graduó de la escuela secundaria de Perth Amboy. Él fue uno de los primeros que pudo ofrecerle empleo a las primeras latinas latinos en el negocio financiero en los bancos. Él fue el primero a tomar ese paso.
I'm watching the clock. I know the rules.
Está velando el tiempo, ya sabe las reglas, las normas.
My message to you, because of your superintendent and this Board of Education, they are my new heroes. And those people who know me know my standards are excelente.
Ella dice que por favor escuche su mensaje, por favor sabiendo y conoce que el superintendente, el doctor Román, y los miembros de la Junta son los héroes de ella, por lo ellos han logrado. Y ella dice, para los que conocen a la señora Keating, ella tiene unos estándares bastante altos y unas expectaciones bastante altas.
It is not how you start out. This dream started almost 25 years ago. Your superintendent and this board have accomplished a miracle. I've lived it.
No es tan fácil como uno ver. Este proyecto de esta escuela secundaria comenzó hace 25 años atrás. Y este superintendente con esta junta ha podido lograr el milagro que ella ve realizado hoy aquí en nuestra escuela secundaria.
So we're getting into baseball season. It's not how you start out. It's how you wind up. You have hit the walk-off home run in the last game of the World Series with the Red Sox and the Yankees. You have done it. And I will humbly request that on the first day of school, I talk fast, on the first day of school, I will be here with my sneakers up to shake hands, as you said, of the 3,300 students, every staff person, because I want to feel the energy that Michael and I felt in 1972 when those students came in, to feel that again. God bless all of you. You did it. Thank you. And wait a minute. And be patient. They will come with the solutions. They will. This is home. They will take care of your children. Trust me. They will.
That was a lot, Mrs. Keating.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to cut. No
Muchas
problem.
gracias.
Okay. Básicamente, por favor, sí, ten paciencia. Ella hizo una analogía al juego de pelota como un juego grande de los Yankees y los Red Sox en las series mundiales, cuando toman esa anotación final en referencia a lo que ellos pudieron lograr, a estar aquí realizando esta escuela. Favor, la señora Kirin le dice, ten paciencia con ellos sí van a trabajar juntos, ellos sí van a realizar, a buscar una solución para todos nosotros. So, la señora Kirin dice, favor, ten paciencia.
From my heart, thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Hi, my name is Sarah Cardona. I am a resident of Perth Amboy. I have two questions. One is the busing. How is it that we are going to ensure that our children cross the street when there is not enough crossing guards as it is? Who calculated the distance of the rate to determine if our children qualify for busing? How would you feel if it's one of your children walking from downtown all the way over here, crossing major highways? This is a state-funded school. We are a state-funded district, so we don't only get taxpayer money, we also get funded by the state. So where is all that money going to justify us not receiving no busing for any of our students? My second question, you can restart the clock, please. My second question is, I was here for the open house, the grand opening, the ribbon cutting that you did. There was a lot of talk about that promesa and our children, our children, our children. But not one child was present here, not the valedictorians of all the 3 middle schools, no sports, no NJHS, no honor kids, no student was present for this grand opening of our new school that was dedicated and is dedicated for our children. So why was no child involved for this grand opening for our kids? That is all my questions. Thank you.
Isaiah Gomez, City of Perth Amboy. So first I just wanted to make a few quick points. Firstly, as someone who works in education, I want to thank you for that presentation that Dr. Roman gave at the beginning. I think it painted an excellent picture of the challenges that this district faces, that this city faces, and the way that this administration has worked to meet that, and I think that deserves to be applauded, and I mean that seriously. That being said, it is still clear that we're still working toward meeting that threshold. And I'm confident that just by seeing the community support here and by knowing many of you personally on this board, I know how dedicated you are to making sure that we reach those thresholds. But as a few parents have made the point, right? We receive state funding. We knew, for those of us who work in government or follow government and pay attention, we knew that there was cuts coming to education within the state budget. This is a problem being faced across the state, and we're not the only, and I am aware, and I know the board is aware, that we are not the only district that is cutting funding for busing. That being said, we are not the same as every other district in the state. We are an urban district. We all see it as we're coming. I live very, very nearby, right? There was an accident not that many days ago, unfortunately. It was a terrible incident, right? And I think that that's a serious thing that needs to be addressed, and as our elected officials here, I hope that you're going to come with a solution and most importantly provide transparency, because that's, I think, a real key to good government here. Especially in terms of communication, right? As many parents have hammered in that point, sending a message like this a few days before school begins, it's a serious problem. And if we're going to meet those thresholds that we're talking about at the beginning, and again, I'm confident that we will, we need to provide all the avenues that are necessary for our students to get to school. We need to be providing more resources, more reasons for kids to come to school, not more reasons for kids to stay home. That's the only way we'll reach these thresholds. So again, I thank the board for their effort. I thank the administration for their efforts. But again, I think we need serious transparency on how this happened. Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Ana Pérez. Soy residente de aquí de Perth Amboy y estoy aquí también porque quiero una respuesta con respecto a los buses, igual que los demás padres también. Queremos una respuesta, pero esta noche, no mañana, ni pasado, ni una carta que nos envíen, porque ya la escuela empieza el jueves. Y como hay muchos padres que tienen niños en 3 escuelas diferentes, tienen que buscar una solución a eso.
We have with us Ms. Ana Perez, whose children attend Perth Amboy Public Schools. As mentioned tonight with transportation, she is seeking an answer tonight, not tomorrow, not in a letter, but tonight.
Yo espero que no den la respuesta el día que un carro atropelle a uno de sus hijos, de esas personas que están aquí. Yo espero que no den la respuesta el día que un carro atropelle a un hijo de esos padres que están aquí. Porque ahí sí se va a ver fea la cosa.
She hopes that it's not to wait for an answer when a child gets hit by a car of one of the parents sitting here, because then things would get ugly.
También les pido a todos los padres, ¿ve que está vacía la sala? Es porque ninguno nos unimos, solamente ahora por el bus, pero siempre tenemos que unirnos a venir a reuniones para que ellos nos tomen en cuenta cuando tenemos una queja como la de hoy.
A message to the parents that just like we all gather here today, for this purpose we should gather all the time, that we keep the members of the board accountable for the needs that we have for our students.
Así que espero que de ahora en adelante, cuando haga reuniones en el calendario de la escuela, que pongan reunión de la Board of Education, esta sala tiene que estar llena completamente de todos los padres, porque no hacemos nada con quejarnos por las redes sociales. Tenemos que venir aquí, unirnos todos como padres para que ellos nos tomen en cuenta a nosotros, porque quejándonos por las redes sociales, nada van a resolver ellos. Es viniendo aquí.
She implores parents to come to the meetings when they are announced. This auditorium should be filled. It is not enough to just vent on social media or say what they need to say on social media. They need to be present here at every meeting, holding the board accountable.
La otro punto que tengo es que, ya que ellos tomaron la decisión, sin tomarlo en cuenta nosotros, padres, esperemos que tomen en cuenta la preocupación de cada uno de nosotros, ya que algunos vinimos, pero espero que la voz la rieguen a los demás padres que no pudieron venir.
So she is asking and hoping that although the decision has already been made without consideration of the parents, that parents continue to come and they keep in mind what the plea that's been brought forth tonight.
Espero una respuesta esta noche, igual que todos los padres, que algunos se han ido porque tienen hijos en su casa que no tienen quien los cuide y tienen que también trabajar. Gracias.
So she expects a response this evening. A lot of parents had to leave. They have children at home. They have to work. And thank you so much.
Dr. Pepe, is there anyone else remote that would like to speak?
I do have about 12 people in the remote. Good evening, my name is Dr. Pepe. I'm the IT director and I'll be moderating the remote public portion of the meeting tonight. For those of you who wish to speak, we're going to use the raise your hand feature in Microsoft Teams. For those of you calling in remotely, to raise your hand, you need to press *5 and then follow the system prompt to unmute. Remote participants will hear a sound when your 3 minutes are up. Okay? I have no remote participants with their hands up.
Hi, it's me again. I came on behalf of my
Excuse me,
aunt.
sorry. Give me 1 minute. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come to the podium and speak? Since seeing that there's no one remote that would like to speak? 2 more parents, okay.
Hi, I came on behalf of my aunt. Forgetting to mention, we are entering the school year 2024 to 2025. I know all parents here are tired, but we must stand up to get to the bottom of this topic. In the new high school, grade 9 to 12, remember we have our senior pals that own their own vehicles. What about their safety? Our fellow classmates who own bicycles and etc. Our traffic.
Antes se le olvidó mencionar que ya acá estamos entrando la escuela, el año escolar nuevo del 2024-2025. Sabemos que los padres aquí están cansados, pero también tenemos que mantenernos unidos para poder resolver este tema. Aquí en la escuela secundaria nueva de los grados 9 a 12, recordando que tenemos estudiantes del 4º año que también tienen sus propios vehículos, sus propios carros y que de su seguridad. Nuestros compañeros de clase que también tienen sus bicicletas, etcétera, y el tráfico que se van a encontrar.
The parkings, our teachers too. Not forgetting this week's accident. This is a highway, not just some little park street. Are we really risking a life or two for pittiness?
El estacionamiento, nuestros maestros. No se puede olvidar que hace unas semanas atrás había un accidente. Este es una calle central principal, no es una calle de un parque pequeñito. Tenemos que mantener los riesgos que estamos tomando. Es realmente necesario tomar estos riesgos de una vida o de 2 por estos asuntos.
Not forgetting, on top of that, the tour was given in the Spanish language. Most of our parents didn't know the cellular communication with their children will be cut off. Last year, I lost my uncle in the middle of my health class.
No podemos olvidar que también la caminata que se dio alrededor de la escuela. You're saying it was done in Spanish?
I think
Some were done in Spanish. You're the one you went to. Okay, the one she went to, yes, was done in Spanish, que estaba hecho en español. Y también que hay padres que no se pueden comunicar con sus hijos, estar por el edificio y el señal de los celulares. El año pasado se le falleció el tío cuando ella estaba atendiendo sus clases de salud. Nunca se le olvidará el mensaje.
I'll never forget the message that sank my heart to its deepest, my teary eyes and shaky hands. My teacher refused to let me exit my class in the middle of my situation while my mom awaited in the office. In case of an emergency, I won't repeat the same. What will other parents do in case of an emergency? Any lockdowns that turn into a nightmare? Seeing the... Do you want me to translate this out? Sí, okay. El año pasado perdí a mi tío en el medio de mi clase de educación. Nunca olvidaré el mensaje que me hundió el corazón a lo más hondo. Mis ojos aguados y mis manos temblando. Mi profesor se negó a dejarme salir de mi clase en el medio de mi situación mientras que mi madre esperaba en la oficina. En caso de una emergencia, no quiero repetir lo mismo. ¿Qué dirán los otros padres en caso de un lockdown de emergencia que se convierte en una pesadilla de verdad? Seeing the message to child failed to send won't feel any good. Most of the board members here have kids. We really need a change. We have to work what we dream so it becomes reality. Ver el mensaje para mi hijo tuvo problemas en enviarse, no se sentirá bien. La mitad de los miembros que están aquí el día de hoy tienen hijos. En serio necesitamos un cambio. Tenemos que trabajar lo que soñamos para que se convierta en una realidad. Thank you.
Sí, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Susana Martínez. Tengo una hija que estará en el grado 10 y realmente me preocupa porque cuando ella estuvo en kindergarten, ella tuvo el servicio del transporte escolar. Han pasado más de 10 años y me emociona toda esta tecnología que está en esta escuela, pero ahora me gustaría que igual también hubiera ese avance con la transportación.
We have Miss Susana Martinez. Her daughter will be a 10th grader here at the high school. When she was in kinder, she was able to receive transportation, and although she is overcome by all the technology that is awarded here at the high school, she hopes that with that same technology and advances that we're able to provide a solution regarding transportation. She is worried on how her child is going to be able to arrive to school safely.
Soy una mamá que trabaja y que tiene un sueldo mínimo. El sueldo mínimo mío es de $15.13. Realmente no me alcanza como para yo pagar un servicio especial para que mi hija acuda a tiempo a sus clases y también de regresar a casa cuando el clima sea demasiado difícil.
I am a mom that works and makes minimum wage. I am very little means. I work about $15.13 an hour, and I just don't have the means to pay for a private service to bring my daughter to school in the mornings and in the afternoon when she is done, especially when the weather is bad.
Soy una persona también que en mi trabajo no se permite usar el celular, o sea que realmente son reglas que existen en mi trabajo y entonces me pongo a pensar que si existiera una emergencia de mi hija, ¿cómo yo voy a saberlo? Porque no hay manera de cómo tener esa comunicación también sobre la transportación y cómo saber si mi hija llegó bien.
At her job, she is not allowed to have or use her cell phone. It's rules of her employment. It's her employer, so therefore, how is she to know that her child has arrived safely in home or to school, since her child will not be receiving transportation and has to walk to and from school in the mornings and in the afternoon? How will she be able to communicate since she is not allowed to use a phone and her daughter would not have transportation? She worries about these things.
Realmente ya hice un ejemplo cómo venir caminando y la calle es tan reducida. Los niños no van a venir 100 niños a la escuela, son más de 100 niños que van a venir a esta escuela. Entonces yo me pongo a pensar cómo van a venir esos niños en una calle tan reducida y más de 500, más de 1000 niños que vendrán todos los días y a la misma hora. Entonces, por favor, escúchenos, porque esto es algo que nos atemoriza como padres, que nos atemoriza como comunidad y quiero que esto de verdad sea escuchado.
She mapped out a path to come to school, and she realizes that the path that she needs to take, that's her daughter, the sidewalks, the walkways are very narrow. How do we expect not just 100, but several hundred students walking in the same direction to get safely in the morning to school or home at the end of the day? She hopes for a solution tonight. We need that you please keep in mind the pleas and the messages sent forth tonight by our parents.
También me di cuenta que cuando estábamos en la high school de la calle Eagle, los niños iban en su bicicleta, en patineta, en motoneta a las clases y realmente si se vinieran caminando en las calles no caben ni caminando ni conduciendo bicicleta en el mismo pavimento porque no hay carril especial para bicicleta.
She noticed when her daughter attended the high school when it was on Eagle Ave, students would come to school on bicycles, skateboards, scooters, and she's saying, how so now when the sidewalks are so narrow? How are they all going to fit on that sidewalk coming to school, those walking, those on bikes, scooters, and skateboards?
Por favor, no esperemos a que estén aquí más de 5 estaciones de comunicaciones por un accidente masivo que se dé a nuestros hijos. Y no esperemos a que después estemos aquí unidos más de 2,000 personas diciendo, ay, lo lamento, lo siento mucho por la pérdida de tu hijo. No esperemos hasta ese día que sea triste, que esté algo doloroso y donde nunca más volverán a ser familias felices.
She implores that you please keep in mind, let's not wait till something happens, let's not wait till a tragedy occurs, let's not wait until this auditorium is filled with thousands of parents, where the message will only be, I am sorry for your loss, I am so sorry this happened, let's find a solution. Again, I implore you to please, let's not wait, let's act now.
Les agradezco esta oportunidad y espero que me escuchen y si hay que hablar con alguien más, díganoslo, ¿con quién, por favor?
Thank you. Thank you. I thank you for this opportunity. I hope that you really hear me out, and you hear all of us out. And if there is someone else that I need to speak to, please let me know so I can speak to them. Thank you. Si hay otro padre más que desea dar un mensaje, le pido que por favor pueden ya hacer el camino para los asientos de este lado para seguir la línea y seguir dando el mensaje de una forma efectiva. Muchas gracias.
Buenas noches a la distinguida mesa principal y a los padres y familias que estamos aquí en la noche de hoy. Como todos los padres, estamos preocupados por el transporte. Mi nombre es Esbieta Paulino, madre de un estudiante de 9º grado, recientemente llegados al país. No tenemos mucho conocimiento de la transportación de este pueblo de Perth, Amboy, pero el día pasado, en esta semana, llamé al distrito educativo para ver qué se iba a hacer con el transporte.
Ms. Paulino here has her child that'll be attending the 9th grade, recently arriving to Perth Amboy to the United States. She's not too familiar with transportation and the system, but she did call the other day to the administrative offices to get some more information.
Sí, cuando me comuniqué con el distrito educativo, me preguntaron el nombre de mi hijo y me dijeron que no calificaba para el transporte porque nosotros vivimos en la Grand Street de Perth Amboy y tenía 2.3 millas y que para darle transportación tenía que tener 2.5 millas.
When she called the offices to inquire about transportation, she found out that her son does not qualify. Since where she lives, she is approximately 2.3 miles away from the high school, and it was explained to her that they need to live 2.5 miles from the high school to receive transportation.
Me preocupa que mi hijo tiene que caminar 52 minutos para llegar a esta escuela y en la inclemencia de un invierno, ustedes se imaginan cómo puede caminar un estudiante tantos minutos que le va a dar hipotermia.
She's worried about her son that would need to walk 52 minutes from their residence to the high school, especially during inclement weather and those cold temperatures where he could acquire hypothermia.
Y como todos los padres que estamos aquí presentes somos de bajos recursos económicos y no tenemos la facilidad de pagar una transportación privada.
And like many of the parents present here today of low financial means, we do not have those resources to pay for private services.
Es cuando Esperamos que escuchen nuestra petición, que la lleven a la máxima instancia para que el problema pueda resolverse.
She hopes that you hear her petition and her plea and that you're able to put it under serious consideration to find a solution.
Muchas gracias. Feliz noche.
Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Buenas noches, yo sé que pasé hace un momento, pero un punto muy importante que creo que es vital para todos. Yo vivo en Perth, Amboy, trabajo en un restaurante en Woodbridge. Al mediodía yo tomé un Uber para mi trabajo y justamente le dije al conductor del Uber, vaya con más cuidado que ya aquí es el límite 25 millas. Y me dijo no y me señaló, ahí está el poste que dice 35 millas por hora. Creo que deberían de quitar ese poste a la de ya, porque entonces uno dice 35 y los letreros dicen 25. Entonces queremos que empiecen a respetar la velocidad.
Mom is saying that she lives here in Perth Amboy, works in Woodbridge in a restaurant, took an Uber to work. She told the Uber driver, please be careful, it's 25 miles per hour here. Uber driver's like, no, it's 35. So she is asking that the signs, speed limit signs, have someone take a look at them to make sure there's consistency so that we can enforce respect of speed on the streets, how quickly cars are going by.
Y otra pregunta que tengo, ¿verdad? Yo vine hace 3 días a esta escuela a la inauguración, todo muy organizado, gracias, pero estaban hablando de los uniformes que son obligatorios, ¿verdad? Mi pregunta es, ¿por qué los años pasados supuestamente también son obligatorios? Pero he visto muchos estudiantes que no traen uniformes con el logo, empezando por mis propios hijos, que les compré 5 camisas, una para cada día el año pasado. Ahí siguen nuevas esas camisas. Entonces me pregunto, ¿quiénes son los que mandan? ¿Los estudiantes o ustedes en la escuela?
Mom, last topic of conversation is that of the uniforms. She came here a couple of days ago for the grand opening. Everything was very lovely, very organized, beautiful. They brought up uniforms. She understands there's mandated uniforms. However, she has witnessed and seen that yet it is not enforced. Starting with her own children, she has bought 5 shirts, 5 uniform shirts, 1 for each day of the week, and yet it is not enforced. You ask, who is the one responsible? Is it the students that are enforcing it or the administration?
Entonces, eso es lo que yo quiero aclarar también, porque no es justo que también los padres estemos gastando en balde los uniformes. Si los niños hacen lo que quieren, se ponen una suera encima y traen camisa de otro color.
So Mom is saying it is not fair for parents to be using this money, setting money aside to buy uniforms if it's not going to be enforced at all, and students are going to do whatever they want anyway. They're going to throw a sweater on top and keep moving, and no one is going to address it.
Gracias.
Thank you. ¿Ya nadie más? ¿Alguien más? La respuesta de este. There will be no one else from the audience at this time.
Thank you. I need a motion to close public comments.
Madam President, before we close public comments, I just want to make 3 short comments. First one, the young lady who spoke on the 4 separate topics, she said, excuse my passion. Absolutely not. That type of passion is exactly what we need for the schools and community in Perth Amboy. So I hope we hear from that young lady several more meetings. We had a parent that I thought was a good point. She said about the ribbon cutting. We didn't have students, NHS athletes. I know it's a little short. I know this is quick, but maybe the administration can put together an opening day ribbon cutting with students and teachers. I know this is the 11th hour. It's in the plan. You got planned?
Excuse me?
Yes, it's planned.
I don't know what you're referring to, but we have to hold on the comments, on our comments.
Yeah, but I just want to.
But we have to hold.
This is
We
not
have
our
to
comments. This is
follow
about this.
protocol.
This is about the speakers. And the last thing is the young man with the internet access translation devices. Sorry.
Do I need a second? I mean, can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting wherein the board discusses any of the matters set forth at NJSA 10:4-12B 1 through 9. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12B for the purpose of discussing the following matters: personnel, matters covered by the attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the length of time of this executive session will be approximately 60 to 90 minutes, and that action may be taken in public after the executive session. I just want to say, and I will translate, thank you parents for coming out today. I appreciate you being here, expressing your concerns. I beg that you wait till the end of this meeting when we come back so that we can answer all of your questions. Otra vez le quiero dar las gracias a todos los padres por estar aquí, expresarse, dejarnos saber su inquietud. Le pido que por favor esperen que regresemos de la sesión ejecutiva para nosotros darle la respuesta correctamente. Muchas gracias. I need a motion to enter executive session.
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. The time is now 8:38, and we will be entering executive session. I need a motion to close executive session.
Motion to close executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Before we move on to amendments, I'd like to address a few things that were brought to our attention or of concern prior to us going into executive session. We want to thank the parents and community members who came to address the concerns regarding transportation and waited to hear our response this evening. Many school districts in the state of New Jersey were faced with a significant budget challenges this year. Perth Amboy is not unique in this circumstance. It is not the result of the new high school. Under the laws of New Jersey, specifically NJSA 18A 39 through 1, school districts are obligated to provide transportation to students in grades K through 8 who live more than 2 miles from their school, students grades 9 through 12 who live more than 2.5 miles from their schools, students with disabilities who have transportation in their IEPs as determined by the IEP team. This distance is calculated by TransFinder, a software program standard in the industry and in accordance with the state guidelines. And because we heard the need for the translation, we're also going to translate in Spanish as well. Dr. Medina?
Sí, gracias. ¿Me pueden escuchar? Queremos agradecer a los padres y miembros de la comunidad que vinieron a abordar las inquietudes relacionadas con el servicio de transportación y esperaron escuchar nuestra respuesta esta noche. Muchos distritos escolares del estado de Nueva Jersey enfrentaron importantes desafíos presupuestarios este año, pero Perth Amboy no es el único distrito en esta circunstancia. La situación actual no es el resultado de la nueva escuela secundaria. Según las leyes de Nueva Jersey, específicamente NJSA 18A 39.1, los distritos escolares están obligados a proporcionar transporte a estudiantes en los grados de kinder a octavo que viven a más de 2 millas de la escuela, a estudiantes en los grados de noveno a doceavo que viven a más de 2 millas y media de la escuela y a estudiantes con discapacidades que tienen servicios de transporte en su IEP, según lo determina el equipo de IEP. La distancia entre la residencia del alumno y la escuela es calculada por un programa llamado TransFinder. Este es un programa, un software estandarizado en la industria y que sigue pautas estatales.
As some of you discussed, the district previously provided busing to students in grades K through 8 who lived closer than the 2 miles to their school, or high school students who lived closer than the 2.5 miles to the high school. This transportation is referred to as courtesy busing. Courtesy busing is not mandated by the New Jersey Department of Education. The cost of this non-mandatory transportation in the 2023 through 2024 school year was $3.7 million.
Como algunos de ustedes comentaron, el distrito anteriormente proporcionó transporte en autobús a los estudiantes de los grados de kinder a octavo que vivían a menos de 2 millas de la escuela y a los estudiantes de secundarias que vivían a menos de 2.5 millas de la escuela secundaria. Este servicio de transportación se conoce como transportación de cortesía. El transporte de cortesía no es obligatorio como lo establece el Departamento de Educación de Nueva Jersey. El costo del servicio de transporte de cortesía para el año escolar 23-24 fue de $3.7 millones.
As some of the community members mentioned, the district underwent major budget challenges, resulting in the reduction of staff members and programs. Because of courtesy busing is not required by the New Jersey Department of Education, it could no longer be maintained or expanded without further cuts in staff or programs. The budget regrets that it was not able to formally notify parents prior to mid-August. However, the board continues to work hard to explore the possibility of providing courtesy transportation with hopes of overcoming some of the difficulties, including meetings with the City of Perth Amboy and the Department of Transportation. Courtesy busing is something that every member of this Board of Education and Administration wishes it were able to maintain, but if the board had a choice, it would not have been to eliminate it. But when faced with the financial challenges, courtesy busing, which is not mandatory, could no longer continue. We understand that this is a difficult situation for many of our families, and we ask for your patience and collaboration during these times.
Como mencionaron algunos miembros de la comunidad, el distrito atravesó importantes desafíos presupuestarios que resultaron en una reducción del personal y de programas educativos. Debido a que el Departamento de Educación de Nueva Jersey no exige el transporte de cortesía, este servicio no podría mantenerse ni ampliarse sin mayores recortes de personal o de programas. El distrito lamenta no haber podido notificar formalmente a los padres antes de mediados de agosto. Sin embargo, la Junta continúa trabajando arduamente para explorar las posibilidades de brindar transporte de cortesía con la esperanza de superar algunas de las dificultades, incluyendo reuniones con la ciudad de Perth Amboy y el Departamento de Transportación. El transporte o la transportación de cortesía es algo que cada miembro de esta Junta de Educación y Administración desearía poder mantener. Y si esta Junta tuviera la opción, no habría sido eliminada. Pero ante los desafíos financieros, el transporte de cortesía, que no es obligatorio, ya no podría continuar. Entendemos que esta es una situación difícil para muchas de nuestras familias y les pedimos paciencia y colaboración.
I also wanted to say that we did hear you. We listened to every single person that came up to the podium. And I want to say that we understand your struggles. Multiple people on this stage are single parents, just like you are. Some of our children also have to walk to school, so I want you to understand that we do understand the struggle. So para decirlo ahora en español, quería expresar que nosotros lo oímos, lo entendemos, varias gente en esta mesa somos padres y madres solteros, o entendemos la importancia y también algunos de nuestros hijos también tienen que seguir el mismo proceso y caminar a la escuela, so entendemos la importancia. And we are working with the city, as we had stated, and the DOT, and we're trying to find other solutions. It is not going to happen right away. We have to be honest and frank about that, but we ask for your patience. In unity and with patience, everything can get solved, or we can find solutions, but we ask for your patience. Thank you. En español ahora. En unidad y con mucha paciencia todo se puede solucionar, y le pido por favor que tenga paciencia durante este proceso. No se puede arreglar de un día para el otro, pero con paciencia y como un equipo podemos tratar de encontrar soluciones, pero no vas a pasar, vamos a ser honestos, no vas a pasar de un día para el otro. Muchas gracias. La señora, ¿cómo se llamaba? Keating. Ok, ella dijo, no sé si la entendieron anterior, pero ella es parte de la comunidad por mucho tiempo y ella vivió por este proceso, lo ha visto. Esto duró, estábamos 20 años ahora hablando de este proceso y aquí estamos hoy. Y sí cogió más tiempo que lo que empezábamos, ¿verdad? Pero con paciencia se logró. Espero que también tengan paciencia con este proceso. No vas a coger 20 años, pero sí tenemos que tener paciencia. Amendments and revisions to the agenda.
Under curriculum, adding item number 23, approval to affirm the superintendent's decision regarding the following HIB cases as unfounded, and to approve the superintendent to transmit a copy of the board's decision to the affected students' parents. HIB case numbers 267445, 267609, 267658, 267736, 267918, 267988, 268013, 268034, 268082, 268141, 268148, 268151, and 268184. Also under curriculum, adding item number 24, approval to affirm the superintendent's decision regarding the following HIB cases as founded, and to approve the superintendent to transmit a copy of the board's decision to the affected students' parents. HIB case number 268080. Under personnel, item number 4 is being amended to add Michelle Nitch, NYCZ, preschool teacher, Pimaleski, early childhood, October 1st, 2024. That's item number 4, letter D. Item number 6 is being amended for substitute bus aide Wilnelia Ramos Perez from Flynn School to Willen School. Under finance, amending finance item number 41 to add the language for sick days, and finance item number 42 is being pulled. Under buildings and grounds, item number 1, letter Q, is being pulled. That's all the amendments and revisions.
Thank you. And now I need a motion for the approval of minutes of regular meeting held on June 20th, 2024, approval of executive session minutes of meeting held on June 20th of 2024, approval of minutes of regular meeting held on July 11th of 2024, approval of executive session meetings held on July 11th of 2024. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? I need a motion for the approval of the bills list for July 11th, 2024 and August 29th of 2024. and the following payrolls of July 15th, 2024, July 31st of 2024, and August 15th of 2024.
Move it.
And you second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Correspondence from the State Department of Education. Letter received from the Teachers Pension and Annuity Fund approving the application for early service retirement for the following individuals with the following effective dates listed below. And a letter received from the Public Employees Retirement System approving the application for deferred retirement for the following individuals with the following effective dates. And now for our Board Secretary report, Mr. LeBrace.
Secretary's monthly financial report for the month of June 2024. Treasurer's monthly financial report for the month of June 2024. General Fund and Enterprise Fund began with $58,338,882.83. Cash receipts of $28,398,612.37. Cash disbursements $64,744,693.10. With an ending balance on June 30th, $21,992,802.10. Acceptance of the reports of the Secretary and Treasurers as submitted and as being in agreement for the month of June 2024. Acceptance of certification from the Board Secretary that no major line item has been overexpended for the month of June 2024.
Thank you. And now for my President's report. I just wanted to start or get towards the end of the evening by thanking everyone for coming here tonight. I think that it's important. A parent had stated that we shouldn't just wait for moments like this or moments where we are bothered or concerned to come to the board meeting. I've said this multiple times. It's so important for parents to come here to understand this process, to see why we get to where we get to and why these choices are made. So I thank you guys for staying here, especially the parents that were able to stay here throughout the night. I know it's been a long night for everyone, but I want to thank you for staying here. It's really important and really means a lot to us that you guys stayed here. It shows the importance in what we do and that these topics do matter to you. I also want to say to the administrators that I can't help but to feel a tremendous sense of pride with all of the hard work and dedication that each of you have shown this past week. I have been here all week, and I have to say that these administrators really care about your children and about the school. They have been here day and night this past week, and it really makes me feel so proud to be a part of this community and to sit here before you and work along your side doing what we do. I know it's been exhausting, but your efforts you've put is truly commendable, and I think that they deserve an applaud, in my opinion. So I say that we need to take a rest. Let's take this weekend to rest, recharge, and embrace the excitement that this new beginning brings. This year, I ask that we fill our hallways with light, with encouragement, with positivity, that we embrace all of the good things that we are doing here in Perth Amboy in our school districts, because we are. And just remember that what we do matters. What we do does matter. And so it is important that we show up each day, that we smile, and that we are there for our students. And together we'll make the school year one to remember, and I'm sure of that. Thank you. Dr. Roman, for your superintendent's report.
Dr. Medina, I'd like you to help me a little bit at different points in time. Okay? First, I wanted to say, cuando todo estaba hablando, yo entiende todo. No puedo hablar as bonito as todo a ti. So make sure I say that right.
Dr. Román quiere expresar que él entiende todo en español, sin embargo, tal vez no puede comunicarse tan bien como lo haría una persona nativa que habla español.
I grew up in an impoverished community, very poor.
Doctor
And I
Rom-
came to this community to try to help children have an opportunity to have a voice. Growing up, I was told they could not have a voice.
Doctor Ramón creció en una comunidad tan empobrecida y por esa experiencia vino a Perth Amboy con la esperanza y la intención de hacer lo mejor que pueda por los niños de esta comunidad.
And again, I understand everything that was said here this evening in Spanish because my grandmother used to speak to me in Spanish and my father would speak to me in Spanish and then my mother would speak to me in English too. And that created the reason why why the biliteracy seal is so important, why the school building is so important.
Y él dice que entendió todo lo que se dijo hoy durante la velada y da gracias a los padres, a la abuela, a la mamá, al papá, ya que en la casa se hablaba español, sin embargo, por eso él lo entiende. Y por eso le da tanta importancia al sello de bilingüismo que el distrito está promoviendo, que los niños lo obtengan, porque él entiende la importancia de eso, de hablar dos idiomas.
So I see you, but there's difficult decisions that have to be made and there's only a certain amount of money that can drive what we want to do.
Él dice que los escucha, los ve, los siente, pero a veces hay decisiones que se tienen que hacer, especialmente cuando hay dinero reducido. No hay tanto dinero como quisiera que haya. Entonces decisiones se tienen que hacer.
And this board does care. There are parents up here on this board, I know that, who are heart-struck and worried about their children as well, just like my parents worried about me, and you worry about your children.
Dr. Román expresa que la Junta de Educación realmente se preocupa por lo que está pasando y ellos mismos como padres se sienten agobiados, preocupados, agobiados por la situación en la que nos encontramos.
But here's the thing, we're not going to give up. We're going to try to find a solution. They told us the school couldn't be built. Here it is. You're not aware of that, but they said this school would not be built, it could not be built, but you're sitting in it. We're not done trying to find solutions. You have to believe in that and give us a chance, and the proof is right here.
Él expresa que no nos vamos a dar por vencido, la Junta de Educación no se va a dar por vencida, va a seguir tratando de buscar soluciones, sino simplemente miren esta escuela que muchos dijeron que no se iba a poder hacer y sin embargo ahora es una realidad y con eso él quiere decir que el compromiso de seguir tratando de buscar soluciones que sean beneficiosas para toda la comunidad.
You ask what could you do, who could you go to next? Go to legislators as well and speak about the fact that we need the funding that would allow us to provide this for the community.
Hubo una pregunta de la audiencia hoy, si a dónde más pueden ir para escuchar sus preocupaciones o sus preguntas. Dr. Román sugiere que por favor se acerquen a los legisladores y le hagan saber la realidad y de dónde más puede venir dinero del Estado para ayudar a solventar los problemas que ustedes están presentando.
And so I'm always going to be very honest with you, and I'm going to say to you with all due respect that I'm humbly saying this to you. The board members and saying to them that we're going to hold the board members accountable, for what they're doing. They're already accountable. They don't get paid for what they're doing, and they're sitting here talking to you to try to provide you with answers. How about we start holding some legislators accountable for funding the schools appropriately throughout the state of New Jersey and in this nation? But the individuals on this board are advocating for you. I am advocating for you. Money must be advocated for this district, and we do not come with that money. It is given to us.
Okay. Doctor Román está diciendo que él realmente va a ser honesto con todos ustedes y decirles que hoy se dijo que tal vez la Junta de Educación se tiene que hacer responsable por las cosas y él está diciendo la Junta de Educación ya se hizo responsable por lo que está pasando y hacen lo mejor que pueden. Él también sugiere que sigamos y contactemos a los legisladores no tan solo del Estado, sino de la Nación, para para hacer saber las preocupaciones que tiene la comunidad de Perth Amboy con respecto a lo que estamos hablando. Y finalmente dijo que la Junta de Educación es una de los primeros que abogan por el distrito, por la comunidad, los padres y la escuela.
The presentation that was done this evening, and all of you saying to us that you need to and you should have this in Spanish, and we've done it different times, and then we don't have individuals show up here. You could paraphrase this, right, Damien? And to have someone here to pay them for translation when no one shows up. If you show up, I'll bring the translator. Show up, you'll have translators. I want you to hear what we have to say. We want you to be here. We want to express to you and become part of this so that you can go out there and vote appropriately. But vote appropriately because the board is working to help you. There's other people that are responsible that need to step up.
Okay. Con respecto a la traducción de la presentación o de la reunión de la Junta de Educación, el doctor Román dice que está dispuesto a proveer el servicio de transportación siempre y cuando los padres como hoy, como ustedes, sigan viniendo y siendo parte de la Junta, de las reuniones, que sepan para que después puedan hacer decisiones informadas con respecto a quién votan para estar acá en la Junta de Educación.
So to that end, the presentation that was done today will be done next Friday in Spanish. It will be sent out to you so that you could see all the wonderful things that are going on here. There's a lot more that we have to do. We're not perfect, but we're fighting for you. That's a fact. And if anyone says otherwise, they're lying to you. And so you will have the presentation next Friday in Spanish. We'll make sure that we continue to reach out to you. Please show up. We'd love to see this room filled and have a conversation. And I'd like to thank you for the respectful way that you showed up here. And my father would have showed up, God rest his soul, the same way. A Hispanic man that loved his community, but sometimes didn't have the resources to take care of me the way he wanted to. Depended on the school, and they couldn't do what they wanted to do. But we want to do the right thing here for you. We're trying. Each and every board member up here is trying to right the ship for all of their injustices in their life. But you need to also go to other places, not just here. You talk about what can we do about, children on the streets. I can't control the streets of this city. You need to go elsewhere to have that conversation. We're working with them, but they need to hear the voice of all of you, because we have been speaking about all of the egresses in the streets and the roads and what will happen when this school comes here. But we don't control the streets. We control this building, and when you come into our building, it's pretty controlled and pretty beautiful. But we cannot help you with the streets. You need to go to your legislators and the people that you elect into public office, not the Board of Education. They're doing their part. We're the people that are supposed to put the street lights and everything else that needs to be out there. I'm not calling anybody out, but I'm saying if you want to talk, let's talk. Then we're going to talk about the truth. La promesa, the truth, no lies, straight up, good people trying to give you the right thing, and I'm watching them get hit by people that perhaps want to hide behind and blame them for their things that they're not doing. They won't say it, but I will. I will. We do care about you. We are trying, and I'm not going to sit here anymore, not one more second, and let good people get trashed because other people are hiding. You could say that in your own way. Yeah, she wants to be nice, exactly. But I'm going to protect this board because this board works hard. There's mothers up here that have children who are going through the same thing. Go ahead.
Gracias, doctor Román. Lo primero que dijo doctor Román es que con respecto a la traducción de la presentación que se hizo hoy, con respecto a la data, va a estar disponible, no este viernes, pero para el próximo, en el website en español para que ustedes puedan acceder y puedan ver las cosas que están pasando en el distrito y cómo está haciendo progreso. Doctor Román también aludió a su padre como hispano, y como muchas de las familias de Perth Amboy a veces tenía recursos escasos y mínimos. Sin embargo, él siempre quería lo mejor para sus hijos y su familia, y como ustedes que están hoy acá, su padre también hubiera estado acá hablando y abogando por lo mejor por su familia o su hijo. Él quiere dejar claro que él tiene, o la Junta de Educación tiene control en lo que pasa en la escuela, dentro de las escuelas, en el distrito. Sin embargo, la Junta de Educación y el doctor Román no tienen control de lo que pasa en la calle. Hubo preguntas acerca del tráfico, las calles, cómo van a venir los estudiantes y todo eso. Él está diciendo claramente que hubo conversaciones con diferentes instituciones de la ciudad y todavía no hubo respuestas a las peticiones que pueden dar respuesta a sus preguntas. Él aconseja nuevamente que se lleguen a esas instituciones de la ciudad y hablen directamente a ellos, saber qué es lo que pueden hacer a las personas que ustedes eligieron con su voto en la ciudad. Doctor Román está hablando también que él está dispuesto
permiso. Cuando comenzamos esta sesión, leímos la ley y las reglas. La regla es que no podemos cambiar palabras, por eso tuvimos que esperar hasta este momento, y viceversa. Y también la abogada explicó eso. Por favor, vamos a seguir la regla. Gracias.
Lo último que el doctor Román aludió es que él está dispuesto a seguir protegiendo y diciendo la verdad, especialmente a los miembros de la Junta de Educación que trabajan duro y siempre están buscando las mejores soluciones para la comunidad, los estudiantes, los padres, y no está dispuesto a que algunas personas hablen mal de ciertas personas que realmente están tratando de lo mejor que pueden para ayudar a todos. Y cuando se lo tenga que decir, se lo va a decir respetuosamente a todos, porque nadie merece ser insultado o que hablen mal cuando en realidad está pasando lo opuesto.
So, in closing, we are not done fighting for you, and we're going to try to find a solution, but we need help.
No, para terminar, esto no termina acá. Él no está dispuesto a parar de buscar soluciones para ustedes, para la comunidad, los estudiantes, pero sin embargo él dice, se puede, pero él no puede solo. Necesitamos la ayuda de ustedes también para que se encuentren las soluciones a las preguntas y a los problemas que ustedes presentaron esta noche.
Y para clarificar también, nada más podemos controlar lo que pasa en la escuela, pero sí somos un pueblo unido, sí estamos trabajando con la ciudad. Tenemos reuniones cada 2 o 3 semanas con la policía, con la ciudad, con todo el mundo, tratando de encontrar maneras para asegurar que los niños estén seguros afuera y adentro de la escuela. No tenemos nada en concreto todavía, pero sí tenemos ideas y, como le dije anterior, nada pasa de un día para el otro, pero pedimos que por favor tenga paciencia con este proceso. Dr. Roman, there were a few questions as well.
I'm going to do it in English. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I would like you to address them. For instance, there was a question about the dual language and the biliteracy on what happens after 6th grade.
Actually, Dr. Medino and I were talking about this. The students will not be impacted to achieve the biliteracy seal, separate from the program. And so, speak a little bit about that, please.
Los estudiantes de... La pregunta es qué pasó con la escuela dual, con los grados que ahora, y el sello de bilingüismo que existe, y ninguna se afecta. El sello de bilingüismo puede continuar sin la necesidad de sexto y séptimo en la escuela dual.
Another question relative to dual language program was a parent had asked what are the plans for Ford's DLS if we're bringing those children back now that we have this new school. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, we're bringing them back. This was a large undertaking. Our next project is to bring all of our students back to our community. That will take time, planning. We will gain some resources back, and we're hopeful that those resources could be used in ways that are beneficial, but we have to take a look at where those funds land, because they're still coming back and we have to fund the programs and the buildings. Eagle Avenue will be, you'll hear a lot about this year and what will take place there. We have to refurbish that building to make it appropriate for different grade levels. So, for example, you're going to find that even our bathrooms need to be done differently if we have smaller children that may be coming into certain schools, be it one of our middle schools and the high school. The good news is that we may be able to alleviate some pressure by virtue of having the students come back. The bad news is that we may have to have redistricting, but that may allow for closer proximity of parents and to students. So we are looking at those possibilities. I'm hesitant to say those things because you said I'm saying there's a possibility that we may be able to do that we're investigating. The fact that if we bring schools closer to the homes, there'll be less issues of what we're speaking about today, but that has to do with the programs that we're looking at. So we're bringing the programs back into our district, and we're looking at what that will contain as far as movement of the district, programs of the district, scheduling of the buildings, requirements even for graduation, slowly and surely. It's going to take about two more years, perhaps 3, to finish the transition and to stabilize something that has been fractured for a decade or 2 prior to us arriving here.
Okay. Una de las preguntas que se hizo hoy es qué pasa con DLS, la escuela dual, y si se la iba a traer de regreso a Perth Amboy desde Ford. La respuesta simple es sí, hay planes para traer, no este año, pero el año que viene, a la escuela dual dentro del distrito. Hay opciones que se están explorando, que se están investigando, que se está viendo, se está planeando cuáles pueden ser esas opciones. Una de ellas es usar la escuela secundaria vieja que está en Eagle Avenue y hacer una reorganización del distrito, ver qué opciones hay para crear escuelas tal vez que estén más cerca o las familias estén más cerca de la escuela, reorganizar todo el distrito, pero para hacer eso hay que planearlo, hay que explorarlo bien y tomar el tiempo necesario para implementar el cambio y la reorganización del distrito.
There was also questions in reference to the curriculum, and I wanted for clarity. Is the curriculum an option? Is it something that we can say, hey, we want to choose curriculum A versus curriculum B, or is it something mandated by the state?
It's mandated by the state. We have no choice in what we do. Matter of fact, ironically, funding could be tied to that you're not adhering to the curriculum mandates, and they could say, well, you're not adhering to what we are mandating. That's a larger legislative, state, national conversation that's going on. And I've said this once before, my personal views on it may be very different. I can assure you they probably are. But I have no luxury in being able to change that. I have to follow it as it's a regulatory mandate. But there were statements of, can we send out forms for individuals to opt out as we do for other things? There's a possibility that we could do that. I would have to check to see what the legality of that is. And I can assure you that if I'm allowed to legally do that, I will. If I'm not, I can't. I cannot apologize for what I cannot control. I can only be transparent about that fact. And again, many of us may also agree with many of the same thoughts you have. And I don't make my private views known. But I have to follow the mandate. It's mandated.
La siguiente pregunta fue que se hizo hoy acerca del currículum de educación sexual en el distrito, y lo que se está aclarando es que no es una opción del distrito implementar ese currículum, es una obligación del distrito de implementar el currículum. Es algo que el Estado, el Departamento de Educación lo manda por ley, entonces como distrito tenemos que obedecer y ponerlo. Sin embargo, los padres tienen la opción de optar y elegir que sus niños no participen en esas clases. Y el distrito tiene sistemas para permitir que eso pase, de ponerlo a los niños en otras clases cuando se estén dando estas clases específicas de educación sexual. Sí, es una... Sí, algo importante que es algo que el Estado obliga al distrito, y muchos de nosotros tal vez tenemos o compartimos los mismos ideales de ustedes como padres. Sin embargo, no es, por más que yo no esté de acuerdo y piense igual que ustedes que no me gusta lo que están obligándonos a hacer, como empleado del Estado y del distrito, lo tengo que hacer porque el Estado lo requiere, me guste o no me guste. Así que doctor Román estaba dando su opinión personal también, de que por más que él pueda compartir o no los mismos ideales que los padres pueden tener, él no tiene otra opción más que implementar el currículum como lo obliga o lo determina el Departamento de Educación.
Okay, moving on to our curriculum committee, Mr. George.
Madam Chairman, I want to move item number 1 on page 4 to item 22 on page 9.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on to our Personnel Committee, Madam Vice President.
Madam President, I'd like to move item number 1 on page 10 through item number 17 on page 15, including the amendments.
There's one more revision. Item number 8 should read for the 23-24 school year, not 24-25.
Item number 8 with its correction. Do I have to say it all over, or?
No, he just said.
Is that sufficient? Okay. I think I said everything I had
Roll
to
call.
say.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President, real quick. Item number 1 on page 10, continued on 11. I want to welcome all the new hires and wish you all the best of luck, and hopefully you'll have a long and storied career here in Perth Amboy.
Thank you. Same to that. Roll call.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Crawford,
Yes.
Mr. George, Mr. Marte, Ms. Melendez,
Yes.
Ms. Oriella,
Yes.
Mr. Quiles,
Yes.
Vice President Gonzalez,
Yes.
President Peralta.
Yes. Moving on to finance. I'd like to move items number 1 on page 16 through item number number 59 on page 31. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on to buildings and grounds with our chairperson, Mr. Quiles.
Madam President, I would like to move items NOPR on page 33 and abstain from items A through M.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Moving on to old business. Does anyone have any old business?
Yes, Madam President, I just wanted to finish a comment. I don't know the name of the young man. I didn't write it down. I didn't pick it up. He mentioned internet access and translation devices. As a speaker, he spoke with eloquence and clarity, and that should show you the value of a Perth Amboy High School education, because he did say he was an alumnus.
Thank you. And on that same note, he had requested if we could have the rules or regulations of our interaction here printed in English and Spanish. Is that something that we can have for our next meeting, maybe at the door?
That's done. We already are started working on that, guaranteed.
Thank you. And also, he had also asked for the translation, and just to reiterate, it will be up on our website by next Friday in Spanish, and that's also the importance of speaking up and coming to these meetings and pointing out things where we can maybe improve or help you. So thank you again for coming out this evening. Does anyone else have any other old business? Ms. Melendez?
I just wanted to leave this with the parents. If Dr. Pepe could, I'm sorry, I'm so
Can you get a
tired.
little closer?
If you can translate for me, but we had parents state that, you know, we're up here and we got our kids all taken care of and we left you with the headache. I want to let you know that I'm a single parent too. I cut transportation from my own kids. I'm also dealing with what you're dealing with, and I will help find a solution because it's also going to help me. So don't think that you're looking at people up here that are not affected by the budget. I am too a resident of Perth Amboy. I did have the benefit of working in town, but I don't have that anymore. I work in Newark. I have to be in Newark at a certain time. My kids have to be at a school at a certain time. Who's going to take them? So don't think that I'm not also like you. I'm worried. So if I wasn't had the honor and the privilege that you voted me to be up here, I would be in your seat. I would be at that podium. That's why I clapped at every parent that went up there. And because you came today, guess what? You made a new movement. Things are going to get translated. And the more you come here, the more you're going to make a difference. By you coming here today, we didn't solve transportation, but we solved something today, Perth Amboy. We're going to make it more welcoming for you, and you're going to keep advocating, and I'm going to keep advocating for you up here, not only for you, but for my kid too. So don't think that I'm up here getting a paycheck, Perth Amboy. My kids right now are waiting for me to get home. I'm tired. I work. This is not my job. You guys voted me up here as a parent, and just because I sat here doesn't mean that I forgot that I'm a parent, because I'm still a mom. I have my own friends that are like, Jasmine, what's going on? I wish I could share what I know. But don't forget, just because I'm in the seat, that I'm not a parent anymore. I'm suffering just like you. Our district is in a good place, and right now we're suffering, but that doesn't mean that we're not gonna conquer this. But if we stand blaming each other and not coming together, it's not gonna move. I'm telling you right now, I'm not your enemy, and these people up here are not your enemy. I am a parent, and there's a lot of faces out there that I saw today that I'm like, wow, you know, I worked with them, and don't think I forgot. You think that we want to sit up here, and you think I want to go to ShopRite and have to face my own people that I cut transportation? Come on, guys. I want to be able to make you guys proud, but it's hard. There's a lot of factors that go into it. This is not something that's simple. And when I sat up here, I'm learning more and more. And that doesn't mean that I'm getting silent. I'm advocating for you more. I'm advocating for my kid and for myself as a single parent. And I hope what I said today comforts you a little bit, but know I'm in the fight with you. Thank you.
Can you
No,
summarize
sí,
her?
vamos a tratar de hacerlo mejor. La señora expresó que como padre ella entiende todo lo que está pasando. Hoy se usó comentarios de que tal vez las personas de la Junta de Educación no entienden lo que ustedes sienten, y ella simplemente está compartiendo su experiencia personal como madre soltera que tiene su hijo, responsabilidades de trabajo, y también se da maña como puede para dejar a su niño a la hora de la escuela, porque tiene que ir a trabajar lejos en Newark. Al mismo tiempo, hoy está claro que a los miembros de la Junta de Educación o a ella nadie le paga para estar acá. Sin embargo, con su compromiso con la comunidad se toma el tiempo que toma estar y ser parte de esto, más el trabajo. Ella tiene niños que lo están esperando en su casa. Sin embargo, hoy y muchas veces otras reuniones por la Junta de Educación está acá representando a ustedes. Está agradecida por el voto que le dieron y si ella no estuviera sentada acá en la Junta de Educación, seguramente estaría sentada ahí con ustedes haciendo las mismas preguntas o las mismas preguntas que ustedes tienen. Que quede claro que ella no está acá como su enemiga, sino al contrario, quiere apoyar, quieren que por favor entiendan que no es un trabajo fácil, sino un trabajo muy difícil que toma tiempo, energía y horas fuera de su casa con sus niños, ¿ok? Quiero que sepan que ella siempre está abogando por lo mejor para la comunidad y especialmente los niños de Perth Amboy. Espero haber capturado su mensaje.
Any other comments or anything in old business?
Madam President,
Yes, Madam President, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, good evening, buenas noches. Yo soy Luis Marte, parte de la Junta Escolar. Solamente quiero decirle gracias a la gente que vinieron acá esta noche. Ahora bien, quiero pedirle a los padres que estuvieron ahí que por favor hagan esto una rutina, ya que muchas de las preguntas que se hicieron en el pasado ya se han dado esa respuesta. No sé, quiero pedir eso, que no traten esto como una iglesia, que mucha gente va a la iglesia cuando hay problemas. Por favor, ven a estas reuniones más seguido, solamente una vez al mes. También enfoquemos un poquito en lo positivo. Tengamos una escuela nueva, una escuela maravillosa, bien grande. Ya en poco ya también empieza el año escolar. Entonces también quiero también que muchos de los padres también se enfoquen en lo positivo, que hay cosas también que están pasando en el pueblo que son buenas. So I'm going to say in English now, I'm just basically saying thank you to those that came tonight. But at the same time, try to make it a routine to come to this meeting, because a lot of the questions that were asked, there were answers that were provided in the past. And, you know, don't treat this as a church. Other people go to the church only when we have an issue. You know, come to this meeting just to learn, you know, to stay updated. And the other thing I want to say, too, is let's focus on the positive. We have a beautiful high school. We have the biggest one in the state, probably the most beautiful high school in the whole state. So let's just not always point out the problems. There's a lot of good things that are happening here. The administration is doing great things for our town, you know. So again, I also want to applaud the good things that are happening in town as well. You know, when there's rain, there's always there's always good things that come in the rains as well. So let's just not always point out the negative. Obviously, we have a few issues. It's our job to look for solutions, and believe me, we're working on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marte. Madam Vice President.
so yes, I also want to just let people know that conversations with the city and even with the between the city, the Board of Education, and all the liaisons and representatives and the Department of Transportation have been happening for a long time. We do know the wheels of government turn slowly. There were a lot of requests to the Department of Transportation. That road, Route 35, does not belong to Perth Amboy. It doesn't belong to the Board of Education. It belongs to the county and to the state. And a lot of requests were made and a lot of ideas have been presented about how to remediate traffic, and that kind of that was a long process and no changes have been made. Yes, there were some changes to the speed limit. I believe they lowered it from 35 to 25 for, between the two traffic lights. There are some pedestrian crosswalk lines that were being repainted. The city and the Board of Education have been working together in order to develop a good route of traffic for students, but much of this was not in our control. And with the budget thing and not being able to provide transportation, it makes it a little bit more difficult. We have been working on different ideas for solutions for transportation. We cannot bring anything forward until we know what is feasible and what we can do, until we have the proof that we can provide it for you. So there are lots of ideas that are happening. There are lots of people with ideas, but each process takes another step that needs to be approved, and we need to make sure we're coming to you with the correct information always. So sometimes it seems like we're not working fast enough. We wish it could be faster too. But there really are so many people working together to try to make this happen, and on every different level to give you guys the solutions and the relief. She's the mom, you know, and we're all here in a different role and in a different capacity to try and support our students and our families. Te lo puedo decir en español, pero súper rápido. Hemos estado trabajando una comité junto con la ciudad, también con el Departamento de Transportación, para proveer más soluciones para la seguridad de los niños que van a caminar. Se ha hecho muchas proposiciones y han sido muchas ideas, pero el Departamento de Transportación y el condado y el estado son los dueños de esa calle afuera de esta escuela. Ni la ciudad ni la Junta de Educación es dueña de esta calle, y aunque queremos muchas soluciones, no siempre lo tenemos y no tenemos el poder de cambiarlo todo. Sí, seguimos tratando en conversaciones con todas las agencias involucradas para entonces proveerles mejores soluciones, ¿verdad? Y en cuanto al dinero, ha sido un momento difícil para el distrito escolar, pero seguimos buscando soluciones y no queremos presentarte cosas que no se puedan realizar. Primero necesitamos un poquito de tiempo para todas esas conversaciones. Se tarda todo, la idea de llegar a la fruición. Ya viste cómo está la high school, ¿verdad? Que se tardan un poquito, pero sí hay muchas ideas, hay muchas proposiciones, pero tenemos que desarrollar la manera en que se va a programar o llegar para entonces proveerle a ustedes, ¿verdad? No podemos decir que viene algo que ciertamente no va a venir. Hasta que no la tenemos nosotros, la información, y que estemos seguras que podemos hacerlo o que se pueda realizar, no te la podemos presentar. So, esperemos con la paciencia de ustedes también que seguimos en esa solución de problemas para ustedes.
Thank you. And I'm sure Dr. Medina is thankful too, so that he didn't have to translate. Any other business? Okay, I need a motion. I'm sorry. I need a motion for a new business for Code of Conduct and first reading of the following policy regulations, 5517. I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Keelis. Any discussion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The time is now, I need a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Moved
Second.
by Ms. Crawford.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The time is now 12:05 and our meeting has adjourned. Thank you.